Okay, we're rocking it old school today.
Yeah, let's
Hello,
do it.
everyone.
Old school.
Hello, everyone. I've got us up. We're here. We're back. No buffering. It is just my display. I've just grabbed my display. We've made it
I love it.
real simple.
We're going back to basics.
Yeah, going back to the start to tell us how we got to where we are right now.
Whoa.
All planned. That's why your
Well
computer was
planned.
doing that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It was just
It was a double blow.
Yes.
We intentionally had bad buffering issues so that we could slip this one in you.
Yeah.
Nope. Pressing.
Not like
That's
that.
no.
Yes. Hopefully my audio is a bit better. We kind of have to try and mitigate the echo of Tim and I playing in the same room and with both playing with very nice microphones. Yes.
Such excellent microphones.
Yeah. So thank you everyone for being here. So please tonight it's just gonna be kind of like a little simple throwback to chatwater. We're gonna, as you all know, Adam has not been on stream with Blackwater for the last 6 months? Before the break? Since January? That's right, I think.
Yeah, January sounds right.
Yeah. So we're gonna go back from there.
And it might surprise you to hear that I didn't actually watch, so I don't know what's happened.
No, it doesn't surprise me in the slightest, but thank you for being honest.
I don't know what's happened. Finn doesn't know what's happened. We're just gonna count this. They refused. They wouldn't do it in the character voices. I get it. Listen, I get it. This isn't for my entertainment. It's fine. But I'm gonna treat this as the in canon, so that when Finn turns up, we can just be like, the chatwater episode happens.
Yes.
Finn knows what's Finn's caught up.
Finn and everything.
If you want the perfect enjoyment experience, what you do is you're gonna have to splice this into that scene as Finn arrives for the first time. You're gonna have to get this whole chatwater and just edit it right up in there.
There you go.
Yeah, and then it'll be seamless. It'll just seem like Finn's being explained what's happened.
Absolutely. And also, this is Tim and I's first stream back in 4 months, babe?
Yeah, at least together. I've been doing DM roulette.
That's true. You have, yeah. Dang. Guys, it's so good to be back. So good to be back. Okay, well, let's jump right in. Also, folks in the chat, too, if you have any questions or there's anything that you think we should be missing. Adam, they're getting questions about your sound.
I am working on it, yeah.
He's getting it. It's so great to see you, too, Teeny. Actually, see you. Yes, well, you're seeing me. I'm not seeing you. I feel like that's... Well, you're seeing me. I'm not seeing
It's so great to see me.
It's so good to see my own face.
It's so good to see me.
It's so good to see my own face.
She's here. She's back.
Okay,
it's good.
I think we fixed it. I think I
good.
did it.
Good.
Nice.
Okay, sick. All right. Well, hi everyone. So we're gonna jump right in. Thanks, Kay. Thank you. Kay says I look great. That makes me feel nice. So we're gonna jump right in. We're gonna do a quick summary of what happened right after we left Finnan. So that was session 45. We left Finnan. So we're gonna speed run 23 episodes, y'all. We're doing it.
That's so
Going for a
many
record.
episodes.
Going for a record. That's
22, because the
Over
episode we
100.
come back to is 68.
That's about
That's true.
100 hours of content. Maybe not, because we don't usually do 4 hours. That's probably
usually do
It's probably
3.
about 80 or 90.
80 hours. 80 hours.
If anyone can do it, it's this amazing
But go
team.
and watch those 80 hours.
Listen, I'm bringing my strongest Sean Deppner derail energy, and
Dear God.
I honestly am. Good luck. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say.
Such a threat.
Shit.
Such a threat. Oh, Molly in the middle of a rewatch. Man, me too.
Nice.
Me too.
Nice.
Yeah, it's so good.
Let me know what happens.
Well, Tim.
It's been 4 months.
So after we leave Finnan, we start traversing the ice because we had heard that of the Karetsu Sen. Sorry, what, Lennon?
I just realized how far back that is. I just got a flash of every single thing that fucking happened.
January
Oh my
9th of this year. So we head over the ice towards where we think limerick is being kept at this wizard's house named Halora, because he had gone back to try and rescue Kindry. So we take off over the ice on this first episode.
And I do remember who Limerick is.
It
took me a second. I had a moment and I was like, oh, no, I do remember who that is.
So we end up fighting a giant whale that is particularly likes cows and cow people, called a Nothveli. We end up killing it. And Callie almost gets drowned by a 2-headed fish.
Nice.
And but we managed to save her.
Finn's fish cousin.
Remember that, because it got away.
It did get away.
It came back.
It did come back later.
Did it also eat the heart of Morris Fike?
No,
No,
it did not.
sadly not.
That's Finn's ultimate enemy now. He's the
Yes.
2-headed fish.
The 2-headed fish. Well, it's dead now.
He's dead now.
Spoilers.
You're free.
Oh.
Your oath is paid.
Your oath is paid. So we continue on forward, and we manage to get to the kind of edge across the sound. And when we get there, there's a bunch of like lobster. It's like very magnetic, and there's like a bunch of like lobster creatures on the beach. Yana starts talking with them, and they refer to themselves as the Scrappers, wasn't it?
Yeah, I
and-
saw a lot of contextless scrappers in the stream chat, and I was like,
Yes.
something has happened.
Yes, the
D&D
Scrappers,
related.
D&D
And
related.
I'm just like, I got the context clues of crabs, Yana,
Lobsters.
and
lobsters.
I see. That's the thing.
We even have an emote about it now.
In my brain, they were crabs. Because there was in the chat, what I saw was scrappers and then like emotes of crabs and then Yana and then that was about it.
Yeah. So we get to the beach, and like Callie and Kokanee and Neppy are just like on the back of these lobsters because they have magnetic pull to pull them to the back, and we manage to get off. And then we don't actually kill. I think we only killed one of them. But then Yana convinced them that she was their queen, and then they helped us, which was really nice. So we head up over the hill down towards where we think this like Lake of Mercury is, where we assume that Halora's hideout is. And there's like a bunch of lightning getting strike. Kokanee's almost like a lightning rod. He gets like hit with a bunch of lightning. We head down and we go into this tower, which is like, it's this really old tower. There's some talk of Ayun in there. It's really strange. We don't really know what's going on. And then we try and go down into this Lake of Mercury. Lennon, do you remember what Callie did as we were about to go into that Lake of Mercury?
Vaguely.
Can I guess?
You can guess. Please guess.
I'm
Yeah.
not gonna guess the exact thing, but the theme of it was reckless,
Yes.
ill thought out,
No, there was some method to it, but it
Okay.
was definitely reckless.
and then immediately after they called their wife.
Yeah, that's pretty.
Nailed
I
it.
could call my wife where we were.
We were still in
No,
Garyang.
You're in Garyang.
Well, then I
You
might
still
have
call
not.
her.
Did I just go into it?
You just like she just literally walked
Yeah,
into the
okay,
Lake
yeah,
of
yeah.
Mercury
Of
and
Mercury.
started like compacting her armor, and she finally found this like
Super
hatch.
dance.
Super dance. So she walked around this ring and then triggered a trap, and then
I watched a lot of videos about people handling a lot of mercury to
Yeah.
find out what it did, because I
You
was
go
like,
crazy.
what? No, I knew that part, but I was
Oh.
like, what would it actually physically feel like if you put your hands in mercury? And so I found a guy who was like, yeah, it's like, and he had a huge vat of mercury, and he's like, it starts to hurt because it's like the pressure gets really.
Yeah.
And I was like,
That's
whoa,
nuts, dude.
yeah. He's like, it's heavy.
Weird.
okay. So we get down, and there's this like open, and Callie manages to find this open like hatch. She opens this hatch, and this like hatch kind of like pulls out of the lake, and we're like, okay, that must be Halora's hideout or whatever. So we're gonna go, and Neppy gives them a hard 24-hour timeline, because we realized that something the what was it
Equinox of the Dawnfather.
thank you so much, the equinox of the Dawnfather.
Tim.
Fight for me.
Fight.
I will say it is a holiday that I came up with, and you're
Oh,
me on it,
fuck,
so.
dude. Honestly, I want to see a law duel.
She'll win. She'll for sure win.
No, because Tim, the secret is you just make shit up, and anything you make up is technically law.
I have to ask all the time because I have stuff in my notes that we never use, or just like I change the name on the fly, and then I'm like, "Who is this? What is this about?"
What have I done, dude?
Exactly.
Like, have you met so and so? She's like,
I've
no.
probably
I'm like,
met.
okay, great. Just delete that.
So Neppy gives the team a hard timeline of 24 hours that we have to be back in that tower in 24 hours for the equinox of the Dawnfather, because we have to deal with a bunch of stuff because Neppy's worried about Finnan. So you're welcome.
Finnan's fine. Finnan, at that moment, we flash to Finnan just smoking good weed with the fucking people of fucking Saber Illyria. Just
Be
like,
mushrooms.
It'd be mushrooms.
Whatever it is, it's fucking tight. He's just fucking laid back. He doesn't know what day it is.
That's great. That's so good for him. That's so good for him. So we keep going, and we manage to get down into this like hideout, and we come into like the foyer, and we manage to like open a puzzle, basically like pouring liquid, like a certain type of liquid onto a spout will open a door. And so this hideout was a whole bunch of portals. Tim, tell me a little bit about that hideout and your making of it.
Yeah, I was like, I mean, I've been fascinated with the idea of like a wizard's hideout, like a wizard's hideout. I was like, I can't think of a better word.
Can you tell that we're both a bit sleep deprived and having to deal with two children all day?
Yeah, and obviously it was very.
Do we need to pack Dresda files for a couple of weeks?
We're good.
I'm
sure Sean can.
I
come
was
up with
very
something.
inspired by the folding halls of Halas on Critical Role, and I loved that idea that he had about the different kind of doors leading to different places. And I was like, yeah, like if you were a very, very powerful mage, like why would you have all of your stuff in one place? Like you'd spread it out to all these different places. And so I was figuring out like, okay, how would she do it? And then kind of building it out from there. And I had fun kind of drawing this sort of trippy map of like trying to follow all the different routes you could go. And
one of those maps where
be.
you draw it and you're like really excited about it, and then in practice you're like, why the fuck did I do this?
This is crazy. I have to follow these like pencil lines.
I tried to draw it in like PowerPoint using like a flow chart, and I got apparently we only got through like 2/3, like not even 2/3 of it.
Yeah,
there's still so many rooms that we haven't been to.
Also, I do want to change. I think because Finnan's a good boy. I think at this exact moment, Finnan is probably in a cave trying to get that goo that Neppy needed.
Sweet.
He's probably just like covered in fucking cave octopus or whatever it was that was in that cave. I can't even remember. Like Adam doesn't remember, but I do remember Finnan being like, "I'll get you what you want." When
we ended up getting it
on our own.
We ended up getting it on our own. You were off doing other things.
Yeah.
So we go through
getting it at a different cave.
Probably. So we go through a bunch of these rooms. There's like this attic that has a bunch of there's like a nautilus shell that has some like weird ties to like Illithid and the multiverse stuff. So that was like, ooh, not great. It was like, looks like a bassinet where it says, there was an inscription underneath that says, let our envoys carry our symphonies through silence. When her flesh is born anew, the aria will become a duet. And we were like, that's not ominous or shitty at all. That's not bad.
I like that.
Just words.
As a musician, I like, let's go duetting.
Yeah, duetting. So we go through a bunch of these rooms. There's an armory that has a bunch of stuff in it. There's a clockworker's workshop where we find the clockmaker's workshop where we find a warforged who used to be part of Torin's party. And his name was Etcher, which was actually a very, very old callback to a one shot that
Deep
we played,
cut.
a deep cut, and I'm pretty sure I'm the only one who got it, which is cool. There was and then we went into this like testing grounds place where there was just a portal and so we found out at the long run that Halora had utilized the chaos talisman because Limerick had taken it, and she'd utilized the chaos talisman to like pull beings through the planes to like test for combat.
Sick.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you don't want to be going and hunting things and trying to capture them. You just have a spell that sucks them in.
Yeah. It's great.
And then, Len, do you remember when we walked into the room with the Inquisitor? Do you remember who the Inquisitor was?
Oh boy, I do, but I don't know his name.
Well, neither do we.
His nickname is the best.
Yeah, it's old shrivelly man with one arm on the wall. That's what I remember.
Mr. Whispers. Mr. Whispers. So we go down into this like room that is like really, really heavily magnetic, and there is a humanoid creature who is attached to the wall. There is a ring of, I think it was iron, and a ring of salt. So he's bound there, and it was bad, and he's like gray skinned, and he's got like hair over his face, and he starts like whispering, and he says, secrets given, secrets shared, freedom given, power promised. And we're all like, oh, no, we don't.
You didn't free him?
Well, just wait.
No, can you believe it?
What about the promised power though? What about the promised power?
Heartless.
So it was
I would
bad.
have freed him so fast. That power.
So we leave that
He
room.
just wants to help.
Huh?
He's a helpful guy.
Sounds like it. I would have helped that dude. Sounds like
You don't get a name like Mr. Whispers.
Sounds like without their moral compass of Finnan, Blackwater's kind of become bad guys.
Yeah, we're at the worst.
Just not
at this
helping
point.
people. That's
Not
what Blackwater
helpful.
set out to do from the get-go, is just help people, and it sounds like you're not doing that.
No, not at all. So we go into like a bunch of other rooms, and then there's one night where Neppy they've been in the Halora's hired out, which we find is called the Iron Lyceum, for 12 hours or something like that. And Neppy goes to sleep, and the Matron of Vengeance, in the middle of in her dreams, asks her to bring Cato Halsgani to the tomb of the Raven Queen in Manta in 24 hours.
Fun.
So we're like, well, fuck. And that's bad.
And so what you've described is what, 12, 15 sessions? 20 sessions-ish?
I am on, I've done 8 sessions up to this point.
Oh, wow. That's actually way more than I thought.
You were being facetious, but
I was being facetious.
So we're
making good time. I need to be more chaotic. Shit.
I don't know. I don't know if this stream can handle it.
I can't bring the energy Sean has.
No, or Matt. You put Matt and Yanis
talk.
and Sean together, it's too much.
Yeah.
They did talk to Mr. Whispers.
But that was after.
Yeah.
That was after
I
we
guess
spoke
that was
with
later.
Halora.
Yeah, it was late.
Right.
Yeah. So we go through, we end up meeting Halora. And it turns out that tell us about Halora, Tim.
You met her in the dream palace, right?
Wait, can I actually tell you what I know about Halora? Because I
go for
got,
it.
and this will be the back in the early days of chatWater where Sean guessed at lore.
Yeah.
These are the little tidbits that I picked up.
Mm-hmm.
Halora is not from our time.
You're correct.
She's from the future. There's something about her town. She wants to do something with her town, and she can't. The direction she wants to send her town, she can't do it in that direction, so she does it the other direction or something, or she freezes her town in time. And
So she...
because her town gets destroyed by an attack.
So when she was young, she left to go and train. She was gifted with magic. She left to go and train. When she got back, the whole town had been destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
And so she continued to study and learn, and she figured out how to manipulate time. So she moved the town backwards in time. She created essentially a bubble around this town and moved that time backwards.
So she is from the future.
By herself. Yeah, as well. She is in her own, she's in her own timeline, but the town is in the past. And basically she did that to buy herself enough time to figure out how to defeat whatever happened in her town to stop it from happening. Because when she just wanted to turn it back a bit, but it wound up going back farther than she anticipated. And so now she has to extend her life so that she can be alive for whatever happens in her town.
The more you explain
Happens
this
again.
timey-wimey stuff, the larger the blood clot on my brain grows.
This is what we were doing too.
I mean, I maybe fucked myself over, but I was like, I think this
So
makes sense.
she's not from our timeline.
She is from your timeline.
But
She
the
is from
future.
no. She is on her timeline. The only thing that's out of sync
Then
time-wise
how did she
is
bring
the
a town
town.
back in time?
She created like this sphere around the town, and she was able to turn back time in the sphere. But when she did that,
Oh, okay.
so it's like isolated. It's almost like if you
Right.
think of it
So
like a
she
ship
didn't
in a
like
bottle.
grab the town from the future and bring it
No.
back. She
No.
wound the time of the
Yeah.
town back. Right. Similar
Back.
to like
And
if
she
you
meant
wound
to
a
do-
clock back, she did it to that
Yeah.
town.
And I think she meant to do it for like 20 years, and then she accidentally did it for like 500. Or no, it was like she meant to do it for like 5 years, and then it wound up going back like 80 years or
Right.
something.
And didn't that town end up having something to do with Torrin's descendants?
Yes, we're pretty sure that the Blackwater descendants went there.
You
The
know,
town is called Telekov.
Under the dome. That's what I think of.
The dome. So yeah, so there's this like chronosphere.
That's
Yes.
that's got real the 11th hour vibes from the 11th hour arc in Adventure Zone, which
Cool.
personally I think was the best arc.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And we discovered that there's chronomagic or chronomancy.
Chronomancy.
Yeah, we just
Yeah.
discovered that stuff. So we end up like figuring out the tower that is on the edge of this lake that had kind of been poking through. That tower is really important to Ioun and belongs to Aegis. Adam, who is Aegis?
Aegis he does shield stuff. They do shield stuff. They're all
No.
about shields.
No.
Because the word Aegis means shield, and that's the only context clue I have.
So we met Len. Do you remember who Aegis is?
He's a man who showed up in that building and we took his hourglass.
Yes.
Sounds
And
right.
he's dead, and he came back. He can come back once a year.
Was
Yes.
Finnan involved in this?
Finnan was
Initially,
there
the first
in
time you met him, yeah.
Yeah, in the Tomb of the Raven Queen. So
Look at
he
me
was the
fucking
dead
go.
body that the queen was standing over. So the Raven Queen killed Aegis, and we took his stuff. That cloak that Finnan wears.
Honestly, the only thing I remember from that was just the like, oh fuck, when I realized the interaction between a nightmare and a fucking person who got sent to the negative energy plane. That was my brain had nothing, no other room for. I genuinely, you're telling me a thing that like I know I experienced. I have no
Right.
recollection of Aegis. Someone has
Sick.
said Aegis the displaced.
place. Thank
Yeah.
you so much, Teeny.
No
Thank
That was
you.
his
recollection.
epithet.
Captain of Lore Club. Showing up for me.
Zero memory of that event because that event was either immediately preceded by or immediately preceded the Matron of Vengeance being like, "What's up, motherfuckers? You fucked up." So like,
Yeah.
my brain
Yeah.
only has the capacity to remember a minimal amount of things, and that took up a large amount of the bandwidth.
Right.
I don't know if you all know this, but my brain does do a nice memory wipe.
Purge, yeah. No, absolutely.
Every month.
Yeah.
So
I think mine's about weekly because I forget things real fast. Wait, did you say
Sometimes-
something about Finnan wearing this dude's cloak? Do I own stuff from this dude?
You have, yeah,
Oh, that's
yeah,
disconcerting.
yeah. You have a cloak.
You
that-
don't even know his name.
No, I don't think I do. I
I think
use
it's like the
this cloak?
timekeeper's mantle or something like that. No, you
I
don't
don't think
use
you
it.
do.
That sounds like a fucking awesome cloak. Why aren't I using that all the time?
I have
It
literally
is.
no
Because
idea.
it
Why
doesn't
don't-
fit your aesthetic, obviously.
No,
Yeah.
fuck it. I'm not one of those people. I will wear something that's dope. Look, Finnan wears goggles all the time. Goggles are never anyone's aesthetic. Like,
Well, goggles are Finnan's aesthetic.
no, Finnan looks
that
like a
is true.
dweeb 24/7. He is the most jacked dude in goggles you will ever meet.
I like it.
Wait,
I like it.
That's great.
Wait, I need
He's
to
like
know
an
about this
NBA
cloak.
player who needs like.
Tim, I'll send
sport
you the
glasses.
specs.
Yeah, please send me the stats of this cloak.
Yeah,
'cause
it's a pretty. I think if I remember correctly, it's pretty fucking sweet.
It's a pretty dope cloak, and you were just like, you just never used it. And I was like, that's weird, but okay, your choice.
I might have had like a mini stroke that night, because none of this rings a bell. And I you know me, I like a good magical item. And I've been complaining that I haven't had magical items for a long time. Because I've had fucking 2 attunement slots open since fucking as long as I can remember.
So I have Death Shadow, the amulet.
Yeah,
that
the
I
amulet.
Wear. That was Aegis's. Kokanee has his lightning sword.
Which he doesn't use anymore.
Which he doesn't use anymore because he has the lightsaber now.
Which is not as good of a weapon.
No, but aesthetically much more pleasing. He still has the lightning sword, though he did break it. He still has it.
No.
And then there's Yana has something of his. Letters has something of his. We each got an item.
I have to go back and watch what. I just want to watch my face as I take in information and it immediately leaks out.
You actually have I did go back and watch it, Adam. You actually have a Windows loading screen in front of your forehead.
I feel like
very tiny, but you're looking forward and there's just a tiny Windows loading screen right there.
I feel like there must have been some sort of bird outside my window moment where my ADHD brain was like, oh, cool, what's that? I have no recollection of this. And
I think you were still hung up on the matron. You must have been.
Yeah.
Usually when things happen, I will forget them because we discussed.
Took Aegis to the airplane and then we buried him there. And then we took all his stuff.
As
that
one
I
does.
do vaguely remember. That I do. Yeah. I do remember going to the airplane to do something.
That's when you got the cape.
The fuck?
What month is this? Just so I know.
Oh, I didn't want it because it didn't match my aesthetic, and I didn't like how it looked.
In real life.
How does it look? What does it look like?
It's blue. It's your colors, my guy. It's.
I honestly think a doppelganger played D&D with you one night, and I was tied up under my bed or something. Because
probably.
I am incensed by this.
I'm finding it right now.
Moving forward while Tim's doing that. So we end up going through a bunch of rooms and we end up going into a dream-like state because Halora has a dream palace that she works in. So it allows her more time to work because time passes differently there. And it's how she talks to Kindry.
Real quick, what episode did that I want to see my face during that scene. Just to see,
was that pre-stream?
Nope, that was on stream. That was episode
1 or 2.
I want to say maybe 2. It was right before we went to Phil Ennis. That's exactly when it was. So it's probably Adam. It's probably episode 2.
I'm gonna go back and just fucking figure that shit out because I don't know what happened. That was a long time ago though.
Was this last January that we?
This was this past January that we just did all this stuff at Halora's. But the stuff with the matron and Aegis would have been last March because that would have been our last streams. So it's been over a year.
That was also during the time that I was running the OBS and sometimes would kind of listen with half an ear because I'd be like, oh, something's going wrong.
Mantle.
Oh, the time shifter's mantle. Thank you, Tim.
Okay, this is starting to make more sense. Where I'm like,
this is the real-time discovery, y'all, of what happens
awesome.
when a crew plays.
This is actually a Griffin Saddlebag item.
Ooh.
While y'all are in Halora's mansion of madness, Finnan is in a fucking cave, and he goes, "Oh, what the fuck is this?" And he takes out a cloak, and he's like, "Oh, this is very cool."
Oh, exciting.
So we keep going, and we end up meeting Halora, and she tells us a bit. She tells us a bit about herself, and she inquires about the Order of the Key. She's connected to it. She knows the Blackwater name, and she heard it where she grew up in Telekov. So she is also creating a warforged body for herself.
Wow.
So she found Etcher. Etcher came to her. The Iron Lyceum and worked with her and taught her about Arathis. She knows a whole bunch of stuff about Arathis because of Etcher's teachings. But then Etcher essentially sacrificed his body so that she could go forward and try and save her town, which was very sweet. So we go to meet Kindry, this this beautiful girl that Limerick has fallen in love with. And basically the whole time that Limerick has been here, he's been in solitary confinement because he tried to break Kindry out, and we were pretty ticked off about that. Oh, thanks for putting that item in the chat, Tim.
That doesn't require attunement, does it?
I think it does.
Oh, does it? Okay.
I think so. Might not say anything, but I think it does.
So Halora is nearly 500 years old.
Wild.
Yep. She can't figure out how to get into her new body. That's the whole thing. She's like, has this like beautiful Warforged body ready to go, but she can't figure out how to get into it. She tells us about the like time twisty thing. We talk about, there's like a very mixed feeling in the party. Lennon, how did Callie feel about Halora? Please dish how Callie felt about Halora.
She hated her, but like Callie really didn't like Halora. Can I remember the exact reasons why?
It was a bunch of slavery reasons.
Yeah, like a bunch of like looking for a lot of power, holding people against their will, toxic isolation, wanted to save Kindry. Was like, if you ever need anyone, stay back, talk to Kindry. It's like, if you ever need anyone, I'm here. I can get you out. Just say the word and I'll be back to get you out.
Yeah. So we had very mixed feelings on her. For myself as Neppy, it was just kind of like she's there's practicality to she can offer us things. Do I like this woman? That doesn't matter whether I like her or not. We need her information and we need her help because she's more powerful than we are. I don't have to like someone for me to.
Tim, you gotta stop giving us these fucking moral dilemmas, all right?
He
gets his bloody jollies off watching us being like, what do we do? It's a quandary. And he's just like,
I don't know how to feel about them.
I don't think Callie took any items from her. I think she left when she was giving us items. I think Callie left.
She gave us a butt ton of items.
Let's just Velsum. Let's just
Callie won't use them.
Let's just do Velsum again. We knew Velsum was a dickhead and we didn't like him and we could kill him.
There'll be some baddies.
We could murder him good.
Please don't say let's do Velsum again, because Tim will bring Velsum back now that you've said that. Why would you say those words?
We've got Cora.
No, there's
on the
other
horizon.
baddies.
Cora's on the horizon.
Ugh.
And that's scary.
I think so, huh?
Who are you bringing back, Tim?
That's cute. I don't know.
Tim, if all of your villains that have been got into into a fight or one like a free for all fight, who would win? If all of your
all of the villains,
main arc villains, I would say maybe minus the Mother of Vengeance, just given the fact that she is a literal god.
The floor. I don't know if they had a one-on-one battle.
And let's say even standing, who's coming out of a fight, an even toe-to-toe fight, who's coming out on top?
Clack.
Cora.
Yeah, it's gotta be Clack. Well, Halora wasn't really a villain.
No,
you didn't fight her.
Oh,
Cora.
You got him, Len. You got him to slip up. Clack's the villain. We got him.
We got him. It's only taken so long.
He fucking slipped. He finally did it.
But I fucking got him.
I don't know, because some of them they're powerful in different ways, right? Velsum was super powerful, but he was also lich, so he wasn't the most hardy. It was all the other stuff that made it difficult. And then you have somebody like Moros Vike, if it was just a one-on-one, Moros Vike was just a bag of hit points. So,
and even someone like
the Baron,
the fucking gnome or halfling that's whose name I can't remember.
Yeah, Fildo.
He was powerful in a socio-political
exactly.
And our
right.
party
is
just not built to deal with a bard. Our party does not built to deal with a bard.
But he didn't even really fight you. You did eventually fight him directly, but it was all the levers of power that he was able to wield that made him a difficult villain. Same with Cora, right?
Why do you think our party is not situated to fight a bard?
I mean, we weren't at that point. We were he was just getting us left, right, and center with a whole bunch of spells. It was just at that point.
But he was able to just manipulate all the people around you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it was always his word against yours. And at the time, he didn't have as much sway.
Yeah.
As you do now.
Hadn't saved the world enough at that point.
We're married to a queen, baby.
It's true.
And then he had all those mind flayers that were secretly pulling the strings.
Yes.
That sucked out Kelly's
brain.
brain.
So
Immediately.
So we
Immediately.
talk. Good soup.
Good
So we
soup.
talk.
Soup.
Good soup. So we talk
Soup.
to Kindry, and we figure out that she's a Kalishtar, but she is not ready to wake up. So she's been in her dreamy state for a really long time. Halora essentially keeps her safe, and she feels indebted to Halora to try and help her. So we then leave. We then return to Halora and discuss that, like, so on the equinox of the Dawnfather every year, she gets to spend one day with Aegis, and he teaches her a bunch of stuff. So she goes to the tower, and that's where she meets Aegis. So we are hoping to try and figure out some stuff about the Matron of Vengeance, wondering if Aegis knows anything, because he was in the tomb of the Raven Queen, because he was the keeper of the study. So we kind of like figure out a plan, and then we realize that there's just a bunch of information that we don't have.
And so Aegis is affiliated with Ioun, correct?
Yes. Yeah. So we then ask her about Mr. Whispers, and she refers to him as the Inquisitor. And we figure out that
Curious.
he
I'm just a little curious.
Shut up, Tim. He is a vessel for Vecna,
Ooh,
the
that's
whispered
fun.
one. Yep. And so she's like, it's hard to contact Aegis, and so she gives us a bunch of stuff. She gives us the Plain Colors Codex, which has a bunch of it's for letters, and Yana, it's a bunch of like teleportation spells and summoning spells. There's a portable hole for letters, obviously. There's a tree, which I think Yana took. There's a sunblade, which is Etcher's sword, which Kokani took. A thermal cube, I think Yana took that too. A metal jug that had armor that pours on and off. I don't know who has that.
Yeah,
Oh, is that like liquid armor?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was
we
like
have that
liquid.
somewhere.
I think it was like a breastplate, I think.
And then we have the Helm of Underwater Action, so it allows you to move freely underwater. And then the Gravekeeper's Maul, which literally looks like a tombstone. It's a giant maul that looks like a tombstone, which I thought was very aesthetically pleasing. So then we go down to visit Mr. Whispers, because he has some information that we need. So we ask him a bunch of questions. We ask him, why does the Matron of Vengeance require Cato Halskani in the courtyard of Manta above the tomb of the Raven Queen? Had to be very specific with the wording. And then we decide because it's a secret given. If you ask a question, you have to give a secret to get the information. Bless me. So then Kokani gives the secret that one of the seals that binds to Chained Oblivion resides as a key in his chest. So we figure out that
that's a big. Sorry, I think I had one of those when I got given the cloak moments where my brain kind of. That's a big secret.
It is.
That's a big old secret for a vessel of Vecna to have.
But we had to get this information.
Couldn't do like my great aunt's marmalade recipe.
Nah.
Real secret, been in the family for generations.
I thought of giving Finnan's paella recipe, but
that's a fucking good paella too. He does not share that with many people. He honestly probably would have been pretty upset about it, but he would have forgiven you.
It's a big secret.
It's a pretty huge secret.
So we figure out that Cato has made a pact with Paylor.
I get it.
Right? So he is now
get an original thought, Cato.
With Dave.
Fucking Dave.
With Dave.
My ex.
Yeah, he made a pact with Dave.
With your ex. He's dating your ex now. So then we ask, what happens if we don't deliver Cato Halskani to the Matron of Vengeance? And we then give the secret, Nepi gives the secret that we are responsible for the ravens that attacked and massacred Bakal and murdered many innocent people. So we give that.
Many innocent people. I feel like there weren't many innocent people that
innocent people.
I think it was fine.
So he says that the matron will exact her vengeance slowly and for eternity. And blood starts dripping down Nepi's hands casually. A bargain struck cannot easily be broken, but a burden may be passed. This one offers his service. So Mr. Whisper says he would take the burden, all of our contracts, meaning the fealty to the Raven Queen, released, But all he asks for is freedom. So if we were to free him, he would have taken that burden.
That's a great deal. I fucking
Neppy was like,
thought.
nah, dog.
Easy.
Neppy was like, nah, dog. No, thank you.
Done. Ooh, wash my hands.
Oh.
So then the final one, Letters asked, who does the matron of vengeance seek vengeance upon? And Letters gave the secrets. Cora Thorngage, former queen of Rofine, was and still is associated with mind flayers and tried to install mind flayers in power and is still at large somewhere in the astral sea.
That's a good secret because
It's
it
a
has
good
nothing
secret.
to do with us.
Nothing to do with us.
It's a great
And
secret.
So Mr. Whispers went on a bit of a ramble with this one. He said, the matron was created by the blade, Eternal's undoing, knowledge stolen in the service of the Elder Eye, forged by the hand of Bane and Asmodeus, and has been imbued with the poison distilled from the blood of Zahir. So that was the blade that killed her, that Nepthiseket's sister, Asylus, stabbed into her in the last days of the Dawn War. And as the queen called out for help when Manta was falling, the city of Manta was falling in the Dawn War, the father, Pelor, turned his shoulder, wishing his children eternal life. The architect, Arathis, cared only for her builders. The mother, Melora, is as fickle as the sea. The moon, Sehanine, and her muse, Corellin, were far across the forest, ears far from hearing. The drake, Bahamut, flew neath the thunder cord to stem the bleeding of those pursued by the undying hunger, the chained oblivion. The hammer, Moradin, fell silent, his forge tainted by the fire of the Underking, I'm assuming Torog, a secret kept, a rot of guilt. And the knowing one, Ayun, sat quietly in their study, intent on only reading what is, refusing to wield the power of truth. We all have a part to play.
So the Matron of Vengeance wants to fuck up
everybody. Yeah, so she's pissed. She's super, super pissed. And so we're like, oh, okay, all right. So we rejoin Limerick in the room, and Halora lets us take him to leave as long as he promises not to come back, and that he can't take Kindry. And we're like, we can take you out of here, but you can't take Kindry with you. So we were bummed about that.
So Halora's still alive?
Yep.
Still kicking?
Yep. So so Halora has a bunch of portals everywhere. So we just walk through one of her portals into the city of Wolfrine.
Nice. It's convenient.
So we don't have to spend any spells to get there. And we go to meet with the Sun Speaker. So Cato's dad.
To answer Kay's question, yes, a lot of this campaign is homebrew. The
so
gods,
much of
I
it.
believe,
most
Forgotten
of the
Realms gods,
Yeah.
and then the backstory of all of those gods, Tim also made up for this world as well, right?
Yeah, I picked a bit of the Dawn War stuff from the Far Realms and then made it my own and changed it, and
their names are basically the only things that's
and they're like domains.
Yeah. But for future
Thanks, Kay.
campaigns and other stuff, there will be all homebrewed gods with homebrewed domains. Tim and I have been chatting away about some of that.
I mean the other gods will still exist, but it's sort of like I'm moving in that direction.
My whole thing. It's like my thing. It's my whole thing. You haven't okay.
It's early, we haven't got there. We're not even close to the campaign.
I have 19 pantheons just fucking ready to go.
I'm ready to go.
Fucking
I will
deep
ask you then,
lore.
'cause
Give me the
I got
gods.
pages.
So we
I
walk
will
back
hit you
into
up for some of
Wolfrine,
that.
and then we
Yeah.
head into the council chambers at a council meeting to be like, well, shit's bad. Shit is real bad. And this is what happens. So Neppy does some praying. Kokanee does some praying. Surprise. It's basically to can we banish the Matron of Vengeance? Is if we can, will you give us power to do so? Very true in the chat. Who the god of partying it is? It's absolutely Callie. It is Callie. Can confirm.
The party paladins. That's where they come from.
Please go watch the Party Paladin one shot if you have not already. So we keep going, and then the Sun Speaker and Cato speak to Pelor, and they're like, yeah, he'll give you the power to bind her or something, but it'll come at a price, essentially. So we go.
Pelor's all about fucking prices. Eyes. other things.
That was Dave, dude, not Baylor.
Dave, not
He's a
Baylor.
real dick.
Yeah.
So we spend some time trying to figure out like how the flip flap we're going to seal the matron of vengeance away. And Letters actually comes up with a plan to use a Illyrian amplifier and shoot the spell negative energy flood through it so that we can rip a hole open to the negative energy plane
Dope.
and push her back
Fucking
through it.
Genius.
Dope.
Yeah. There was
Very
just like,
dope.
I
It
think
was
that
one
was
of those things where I planned it. I was like, I don't think there's a way out of this. I guess we'll see.
'Cause
Like
there
I was
was-
like, there's no good way. It's
it was
like lose lose.
It was episode 120 or episode 53, sorry. And we just like spent 2 hours on stream in real time coming up with this plan. It's just
That was wild.
a session where we just came up with
Blackwater spending entire session talking about a plan? No, never. That's not us.
I wouldn't have believed it if I hadn't seen
We're
it with my eyes.
deliberate and decisive, and we do our thing,
Absolutely.
everything immediately,
We know exactly what we want to do
We know
and when we want to do it, how we want to
all the
do
time,
Mhm.
at all
it. And you know what
times.
we don't do? We don't think of what could happen and
Yeah.
the
Or could go
repercussions.
Yeah.
wrong.
We
No,
we
no,
never
no.
think of the ifs, the buts, and the could
We don't
be's.
contingency plan. What are you talking
No.
about? We're
Mm-mm.
very, very.
We know
decisive
our
people.
plan is going to work, and it's going to work
Thank
well.
you for the raid, Dungeons and Do-Gooders. Welcome,
Hello.
welcome.
Hi, Raiders.
We
Nice
are
to see
just
you,
we are
folks.
filling me in. I've been absent from the main campaign since January, and we're catching me up, and so catching you up at the same time.
Yeah. So we're going to be back to our main campaign on Saturday. So if this is your first time ever coming to chat with us, come stick around, come hear a little bit of the
Hang out.
backstory,
Yeah.
listen to some good D&D chats. Oh, thank you so
Oh,
much for the bits, folks.
thank you
Thank
for the
you.
bits.
Oh,
Wow,
thank
wow.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Also, this isn't
There's some-
for people who are here for the first time. This is our whole crew. We are missing 3 people.
Yes.
Usually there are 3 others, and then at the moment there is a 4th person.
Yes. So we will be back to our main big campaign on Saturday. So if you're able to, come hang
Yeah,
out.
come
That's our
hang out.
cast.
Saturday, 8 p.m. Pacific
Pacific
Standard
Standard.
Time.
Mhm.
Yes. So there's a bunch of information. If you have any questions, we're literally just chatting tonight. So if you have any questions, please throw them up in the chat. If you have questions about our characters, our mods, there's a bunch of mods in the chat right now, so you can ask any of them, and we're welcome to. We can answer those questions for you too. So thank you so
Sure.
much for the raid and the bits, y'all. Thank you.
Yeah.
So we realize at this point they're like, well, we have like 6 hours before we have to be in Manta.
So we'll
we're
spend
just
5 hours planning.
so we
Classic.
decided we realized
Literally,
we
though.
have to go yeah, literally though. So
we're
like you're
we're on the
joking?
clock. Let's sit down and discuss.
Joking, but that is basically what
Yeah,
happened.
real time.
Yeah. So we in the next session we
Oh, man.
spent time. We got all of our affairs in order because we were like, I don't know if we're gonna survive this shit. We're gonna go fight a god. Who the
Is that
fuck
when
knows?
Finnan went to a place with a person?
Yes, you took Finnan took Jar
Yeah.
to Caradoc.
Just
Jar
Jar?
and Nissa
Jar and Nissa.
to Caradoc. Yeah,
makes sense.
just to keep them safe there, so that nobody knew where they were.
Got to keep
And
the child safe.
Because they're the
Kamea
big villain at the end, of course.
Kamea refused to
Exactly.
leave, and Callie was mad.
It's the power team of Jar and Clack
Yeah.
at the end.
I think I called when we were at Halora's when we found
You
out
did.
shit was gonna get bad. I was like, I need you to leave and not tell me where you're going. And then then Callie got to Wolverine and Kamea
That's
was
right.
there and she was like, okay. She
Didn't
was
leave.
angry.
Um,
Mm-mm.
we
Whoa.
haven't gotten to the sigil marketplace there. We're getting there. We're getting there.
Yes.
Look at
Shadow
that.
Tiger, spoilers, I don't know about. I think
Oh,
I do
you
that. I
missed-
think I do that. I
Oh,
Oh,
think I
you
might.
missed Ubi.
That was a crazy character.
We're getting there. We're getting there.
Is.
So,
Ubi. Oh, God. I
Ubi.
wiped the Ubi. From
I've
my
also heard about
mind.
Ubi. I've seen a lot of like discontent
Long
around
Goblin.
the
The,
idea. of-
Long Goblin.
Yeah.
The Long Goblin.
I wiped the long goblin from my brain and now it's back and I hate it.
Okay, we're getting there. We're getting there. So we go to Seba Illyria because we have to get an amplifier, and we go see
Yeah.
Serpenthus, the hot drow or the hot Illyrian wizard that has the hots for letters.
The knight
for
whose
letters.
name is Penthus.
Sure. She uses he her pronouns. So I mean, yeah, but ladies can be knights too. So
Sir Bree of Tarth.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So we go. Neppy forges an amulet, essentially to use as the thing to bind the Raven Queen. Kokanee works with the gun with an armorer there named Felorian to forge a gun that essentially he's going to put like Arathis gave him a little like. She described it almost like a piece of herself, like a shard to like bind the Raven Queen with. And Neppy used some of the rock from Temple Asenonyx to like put into this amulet. Is like, okay, we're gonna fucking bind her into the negative energy plane. So we go do that. And then we all sit basically in Serpentis' study. We have tea. We have a little cry together, I think, as a party and like just tell each other we love each other. And then we go to Manta, to the courtyard of Manta. And we see like thousands of Kenku. Just like there, a bunch of the Kenku are just all there, like on the walls of Manta. And we stroll up to the tree with Kato.
Did we hire that same pirate captain to take us there and abandon her?
She was there.
Ah, cool. So she took us there and then we abandoned her again?
No, I'm pretty sure she died or was about to die on the way back from that trip. The rest of her crew died, and she became a paladin of vengeance for the matron of vengeance.
Yeah, she kind of hated y'all.
I mean, listen, we paid for a one-way trip.
We've been through this.
If she's such a highfalutin fucking business acumen person, she knows that when you get paid for a fucking one-way trip, you get a fucking one-way trip, dumbass.
Oh god.
So that's when so we kind of wait around a little bit till I literally have in my notes, she's a snarky bitch.
Fuck her.
You're like, hey, take me to this dangerous island that nobody gets out of.
And we paid her hazard pay. And then we said, good job, you got us here. Bye.
We did help her get out, Tim. We gave her stuff to help the sirens for her ears.
Yeah.
We cleared all the fog. And we were just like, gotta go, bye.
I gave her candle wax.
This
Touch
guy
me
is
enough.
fucking yellow. We have to go.
We also paid her more. We gave her more money. We fucking gave her hazard pay. And we're like, we paid for a two-way trip. We just didn't stay on the boat.
Thanks for the follow, Chef Papa. Thank you.
Just peaced out.
So the battle of dawn and dusk kicks off. So Kato gets like.
Oh, so Kato's traveling with Blackwater at this point?
Yes.
Oh, I see how it is. No, I see how it is. Finnan goes away. You immediately replace him with another warlock.
We need another
who also has eye stuff.
Yeah, so
wow. Fucking Finnan will remember this.
He won't.
Easily replaceable.
He wasn't there. So the Sun Speaker is with us too. And so basically at that point, like fire like encircles Kato, and we see like Dave.
What's up,
essentially Dave? A visage of Dave, who's known as Cadmiel. Is his actual name.
Yeah, you went to my fucking ex's new boyfriend? Come on. Fuck you guys. That's a dirty play.
That's what the matron said she needed. It's not my fault. Okay. So the fight is really bad. The matron uses power word kill and kills the Sun Speaker.
Oh, dang.
Okay. Yeah.
Sun Speaker got to work out a little more if his health points are under 100. Come on, dude.
She'd hit him pretty hard. There was like a Night Gaunt, and Cordelia was there too. It was like bad news.
It was a Night Gaunt.
Another one. Yeah.
There was two.
There's two Night Gaunts.
That's too many, Tim. Those are CR22 creatures.
No. Not
a Night
Walkers. No, the Night Gaunts are in the creature codex. They're like 15s, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah. They're like bat kind of creatures.
Yeah. They're grabby,
not the Nightmare.
Real grabby.
No. So
the Nightmare too much.
We managed to rip the portal open to the negative energy plane. We managed to do it, and the Sun Speaker, before he is killed, manages to push the matron up towards the rift, and she's like barely holding on.
Very nice.
So Neppy, I think, gets off the first banishment, the first power word banish, and like pushes her in to the rift. And like gets her there. She's basically like nailed down into the rift, and then Kokanee gets off the last one. So and the rift begins to close, and then just as the rift closes, Cordelia starts to bounce but she knocks Kokanee unconscious and she takes his gun that has the shard of Arathis in it, the piece of binding that is holding the Raven Queen in there.
Ooh.
So it's very bad. So we're like,
does a nightmare spawn when you put someone in the negative energy plane?
we were pretty sure that it had spawned somewhere on the island. So we gotta fucking get out of here. We have to go.
Nice. Blackwater making more problems, solving
More
problems. Nice.
So we like Kokanee is like distraught. He's like so distraught. She's like he's like, she gave me a piece of herself and I fucking lost it.
Yeah.
And we're like, no, like she stole it. It's not your fault. You were unconscious. Like, and I was Neppy was shadow form at that point. Neppy had gone down and was like just in shadow form. It was and then the sun, before the matron Jess was about to push into the rift, she extended her hand towards Clack and she killed him outright. And Letters, Tim or Lennon, can you please talk about what Letters did in that
Len,
moment?
take it away.
I'm gonna cry again if I talk about it. I think Callie was one of the only ones that saw it.
Yeah.
Because I was flying down to help.
Yeah.
And Letters threw himself on top of Clack. And begged Nepthisicat, right, for help. Begged. And
I know I'm tearing up too.
What episode is this? I actually want to see this. This feels like a good moment.
The battle is amazing. It's episode 54. Watch the battle. It's really fucking good.
And revived Clack because he was dead. He brought him back up.
And Letters is now a paladin?
No.
A little bit?
He's on a quest.
On a quest.
He's not a little bit paladin yet, though.
Not yet, but he could take one. He could take a level, and
he threw himself on top of Clack.
Because Dave also helped him.
Yes, Cadmiel helped.
Hi, baby.
But it was part of it was that like Nepthisicat.
Cool, all of a sudden.
Part of it is that there had been so much strife between Nepthisicat and Pelor for so long because of what happened with that one priestess who had left Pelor and then had gone in service to Nepthisicat, and Pelor had like sought to kill her, and then she immolated herself and all that kind of stuff. So there had been a lot of bad blood between Pelor and Nepthisicat, and this was they worked together to bring Clack back.
So Dave's cool now after blinding kids for a couple of years.
We
love Dave, apparently. Cool. I'll go get my We Love Dave shirt.
So after that, we go back to Wolfreen. Cato is like comatose, and he also doesn't know that his dad is dead. We try to revive the Sun Speaker, and we can't. And basically, Pelor's light like completely envelops him in his body.
Callie tried to revive someone for the first time by herself, and he dissipated into light.
Sounds like Callie fucked up.
That's what Callie thought. That is what Callie thought, exactly.
So we attempt to scry on Cordelia to try and figure out where she's taken this fucking thing of Kokanee's, and she's not on this plane. So we're like, well, fuck, that's bad.
Not great.
It's our own little episode of Home Alone.
So Neppy communes with Nepthisicat and realizes that the matron's not fully sealed. The Sun Speaker pushed her back into the rift, but it was not a seal. So we have two seals that are holding her in, and the seal that Kokanee made was not broken yet, but Cordelia has it.
Right.
So we and Kokanee has this like beautiful moment with Arathis where Arathis like really comforts him and is like, it's not your fault. Like you did everything you were supposed to do, and you will get it back. So there's like celebration through the city because the like festival of the Dawnfather or the equinox of the Dawnfather is like this big holiday, and we're just like walking through the streets like very morose with nobody knowing what we did, and everyone's just celebrating around us.
Finn got so drunk that day, like
yeah,
he was just in Caradoc. It was really inappropriate because he was in a childcare position. Blitz, just like.
So after that, we go to the tower. And we meet Aegis, and we talk to Aegis.
Oh, nice.
Mm-hmm.
So we, and so funny, Timothy, Letters says to him, oh, you're Aegis the Displaced. And Aegis goes, oh, I like that.
can resist.
So Letters gave him the fucking name that Tim had given because of wibbly wobbly timey wimey stuff. It's like
Because basically, like he just pops into his, like, all over his timeline. Like
Right.
he's constantly shifting across his own timeline.
Right.
So he doesn't, like, he was at a point where he didn't know that his
Was
about
ages
his
that it
death.
went- yeah.
Yeah.
And so we told
That's
him very briefly about his death.
That's cool.
And he was like, "Oh, I do that. Okay."
Spoilers.
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 So we.
That's
talked
got some
to him-
Doctor Who vibes up in it. Like,
Right.
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
so
absolutely.
timey-wimey.
Absolutely.
So we figure out. We go to, and he takes us to the study. So he's like, "Please use the study with care," and
We
is
don't.
with us as fucking.
We don't
we-
use it with
we-
care.
We figure out that the seal of the Raven Queen that Kokanee, that the Cordelia stole, is at the Gloom Spire in the Ashen Plains in the Shadowfell, and we're like, well, fuck. So it's beyond. We figure out how to get there, and then we.
I vaguely remember hearing something about Letters getting something and then forgetting that he had the thing. What?
So
Played one too many times.
Yeah.
So Letters asks, what is Grobin Selkara's most damaging secret? Grobin Selkara was the guy who ran the mining company in Garyang that Letters had
Right,
some big
yes.
issues with, and was that like he that Grobin Selkara murdered his brother,
Dang.
and so Letters decides to open the book, and not just another book off the shelf, and he fucking forgets the last 5 minutes.
He told people about that secret, correct?
No.
No, so that just
It's just he had it and then it was gone, and he didn't
That's
even
just
know
a
he
secret
lost it.
all you players know.
that's
That none of your
so
characters
fucking
know.
funny.
Yeah,
I
Callie took a
had-
book.
I thought that he'd been like, "Oh, this dude killed his brother," and then like did the book again. I was like, "What? God."
Yeah,
That's
and
fucking
then
wild.
Letters took another book, but lost the ability to speak Draconic.
Sick.
Callie then pulled a book because they were playing book roulette, and she forgot the last 5 minutes also.
Oh my god, right. I remember this all now.
And then Letters pulled another book, and his intelligence increased by 1, but he took 50 hit points of psychic damage.
That's good though.
Yeah.
That's good for the wizard.
And then Callie takes another book stealthily. And then she forgot the names of everyone standing around her. She forgot all of our names.
Is that so? Like, how do the books work? Can Callie
Got
regain
it
those
back.
memories?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
She
okay.
got that. She got it.
Yeah. Well, we want to. We'll
So
get
for
to that part,
a brief
right?
moment,
Yeah.
the only member of Blackwater that Callie remembered was Finnan,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because Finnan wasn't in the room.
She
Yeah.
knew that she knew us and that she
Yeah.
cared about us, but she didn't know our names.
I didn't know
That's
the
so
names.
Yeah. So then we go to see, we're like, okay, well, this is not all the information we need. So we go to see Adonis. And we're like, how do we get to the Shadowfell? Because that's where we need to go. And he's like, ooh, I don't know how to go there. And he says, go see, he says you could try a guy in Tialmo, or in Cinderfall to get to Tialmo, to like get to this portal that'll get us there, or to go see the Plain Scribe in the City of Doors in Sigil. Her name is Erika Sarad, but she hates Adonis. So like, don't say that he sent her. So he gives us a little totem that like will get us there. So we then go to Sigil, which is this like, talk
No,
about Sigil. Tim.
Finnan's been to Sigil.
Oh, you've been to Sigil. Yes. You know,
Yeah.
Pardon me. You know what Sigil is. So we go to Sigil. There's a
But
bunch of
just
people.
before that,
Go ahead.
Callie did go to her wife and be like, "Who are all my friends?"
Yes.
Yeah. I went to Kamea and I asked everyone's names. And she gave me everyone's names, but she swapped Neppy and
Yana's name.
Iana's names
Purposefully.
on
That's
me.
fucking good. That's class.
Yeah.
That's a
That's
good
That's marriage,
wife.
dude.
That's a
marriage.
good
Good
fucking
marriage.
wife. That's a classic. Like,
Like, you did something you weren't supposed to do.
Yeah.
Like, she
Yeah.
knew
That's
that
classic.
it's like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
we're just
So
gonna
I
mess
went
with
up,
you a little bit.
yeah, I went up to the group
we
and
do
I
love
started
Kamea, Molly. We do love her so much.
calling Neppy Yana and Yana Neppy.
I was like, okay. It was strange. I think we figured out that Callie lost. I think she came clean and she was feeling very guilty about it.
So funny.
So
It
funny.
was so good.
And oh yeah, she admitted to reading an extra book. I have it here. We call her on it and she admits to reading an extra book.
Sometimes you gotta do it though.
Sometimes you gotta read books, you know.
What did you get in return? Nothing?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Cool.
No. It's like a D100, so
It was
a lot of
letters.
bad.
Letters and I were going. Letters and I were going back and forth. They were
Yeah, they're
like,
playing book roulette.
do it, and it was like, okay, I'll do it. And then we were doing, and then Neppy was like, no more.
Please, no more books.
And
Thank
Callie was
fuck.
like, bet,
Thank
and
fuck
she
Finnan
grabbed
wasn't
one
there,
more.
because that bit would have gone 3 times as long. Because Finnan would have been like, I ain't backing down on this. Like, I will win this game.
There were some bad ones. There was like, I think the very worst one was like, you just lose most of your memory. Like it's bad.
Yana lost 24 hours one time,
Yeah,
right? Forgot
yeah.
that she'd been in the meat grinder. Anyway, so we go to Sigil and we're walking around and we visit, Letters visits like a grain cart where he gets some grains from Katona. Callie gets some candy for Jar. And then we go to see another cart that is just, it's like a wagon that's also like a hut, but it's got
Ubi?
mostly grass in it.
Wait.
And it says potions by Ubi on the side.
Also,
And
wait,
it's not even a hut. It's just like piled up grass
did
on
you
a
all go
wagon.
to the Plane of Ooze?
We did, but I'll tell you why we did that.
Devastated that
Yeah,
I
I'm
missed
sorry.
the Plane of
I'm
Ooze.
sorry. So we
I don't
so
think I can financially recover from this.
out of the cart just pulls like arms, and then like half of a goblin just kind of comes out of the cart, the side of the grass of the cart. And
The
she
front
said,
half.
the front
Or the
half
top half.
she says her name is Ubi. She has too many joints in her arms. They just bend in too many places.
And she also has
And she also has like tiny little other arms.
But-
Like,
jump out sometimes to take things.
and so she was just like, put money down and then I'll give you a potion. Is essentially what it is.
I like this game.
So-
This sounds a little bit like Quirk's deal, where he's like, "Give me
Yeah.
money, you get a pickle jar. We'll see what
Yes.
happens."
Yeah.
So at the start,
Very much so.
Kokanee gets a potion of doubling for 100 gold pieces. Yana gets like a sticky potion for 28 gold pieces, and Callie puts down 69 gold pieces, and gets a
Of
potion that
course.
is like Bugs
What
will
else did
love
I put
you
down?
is the only description that she gets. Bugs will love you.
I don't think she's used it yet either.
No, I don't think any of us have used our
We were
potions.
going to
We were
when
going to.
we were in walking through, and there was those bugs, those huge bugs that were jumping
Yes.
around.
We'll get there. We'll get there. So then, as this is happening simultaneously, Letters is visiting a rock and crystal stall and meets another petch. Her name is outside or our
It's
children?
outside.
Okay.
Like a dog.
The outside children or the inside
Is it the
children?
outside
Which
children?
one is
See,
it?
it's real concerning if it's outside children, but also your children.
Yes.
That's the alarm bells.
So Clack and Letters are visiting this stall, and it's this petch woman named Lady Forna. And she tells us that we need to go, if we're wanting to learn a bit more about the portals, we need to go to the TEDs, which are the Elemental Defense Society. So we need to go visit the TEDs if we're wanting to go to learn about the portals. And Lady Forna comes around as our guide for the day. Like Letters hires her as our guide, and Clack is so worried about the implications of Yana meeting Lady Forna. It was like this huge conundrum. And so then Letters and everyone else goes back to Ubi. So we're all standing in front of this potion maker.
Tim,
Rogi.
Finnan's gonna go see Ubi.
Finnan doesn't
Just-
know that Ubi exists.
No, listen. He has felt the wild call, and he knows
Yeah.
that somewhere
Of an
out
Ubi.
there he needs to find
Ubi.
Ubi.
Oh,
He's
it
the
gets
long
better,
goblin.
dude. Just wait.
So
It's
Letters
so bad. It doesn't get
Letters-
better. It gets worse.
Letters puts down a potion of or like 1,000 gold pieces, and he gets a potion of cloud giant strength, and she
Sick.
somehow knows his name.
Sick.
She knows that his name is Letters Blackwater. Callie puts down three gold pieces separately and gets an oily orange potion, a black oily potion, and a hot pink carbonated potion. And Ubi just says, surprises.
Fuck, I love Ubi. I live for Ubi. Can we pause for a second?
Yeah.
I want to hear Ubi's voice. Tim, please. Give me Ubi's voice.
I'd have to go back and watch. I can't remember, but I think it was gross.
Yeah.
It was like small and wet is the only way I can describe the voice.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to go back and watch. I'm just gonna, if like Molly or Teeny wants to go back and just clip Ubi, I just want like a full library of Ubi that I can just be like Ubi 1, Ubi 2, Ubi 3 for Adam. Just call the clips for Adam Ubi 1.
So
Cody,
then,
roll that Ubi clip.
roll that Ubi clip.
So then Neppy puts down 750 gold pieces. For Molly's reference, this is episode 56. It's on YouTube.
More Ubi. Wait, that's 2. So we're 2 episodes away.
No, 56. Not 66.
Yeah, you're right.
Episodes to go.
I can do math. Shut up.
Yep. So
I am surprised I'm with you, Adam.
750 gold pieces, and she gets a potion of heroism.
Oh, no.
And Ubi's actually quite nice to Nep, and he's like, "Oh, you will probably need this. Will be good for you or your compatriots." And Neppy's like, "Oh, thank you so much." And then Letters asks, "What does she want beyond gold? Like, what's?" And Ubi asks for a kiss.
Yes.
I believe she also calls a taste.
Yes. Oh my God, clip that, please. I need to watch that.
Letters kisses Ubi, and he feels some pain inside.
Yeah, he takes him down.
And she holds him close, and her mouth doesn't split this way; it splits this way.
Yeah, that's some classic shit right there.
And Letters feels like something. She has too many teeth.
Yep, of course.
Too many teeth.
So
Ubi then goes into the back, and Neppy like frantically does a medicine check in his mouth. I rolled a natural 20.
Also awkward.
He's poisoned.
Sweet.
So Neppy fixes the poisoning, and Neppy manages to take a small pebble out of his mouth that she had embedded on the inside of his mouth.
I hated this so much, and I hate them going
she
through
popped
it again.
in a jar and just popped it in her bag. And then Ubi came back out, and he was given a golden potion of a supreme healing potion.
No, so Raven has come up with a pretty good point. Was it a pebble, or were it an egg though?
Oh yeah, it looked like a pebble, and then Neppy put it in the jar, and then we realized it was an egg, because when we put it in the jar, there was a tiny little creature that furled out of it, and then realizing there was no host, it just went right back in.
Yep.
Y'all got a little long goblin egg.
We have a long goblin egg.
Yo, I know what we're doing to Kato when we get back to Wolverine.
Oh my God, that boy has had enough trauma.
Nah, fuck
Leave
that
Kato
guy. He
alone.
likes Dave.
So then we go visit, we go to the Teds, we go to on the way to the Teds, and we see a bunch of different places that have portals. So basically in Sigil, it's like there's like a building that houses a portal, and it's kept by a certain amount of people.
Mm-hmm.
So we realize that we need to go to somewhere called, the Shadowfell portal is kept by a group called the Banded Sombra. So we know that they're the folks that we need to deal with. So we go to the Teds, we meet Benton, who's a Finch Aarakocra, and he's a cousin of Bruce. So we talk to him a bit, and he gives us directions to Erika Sarad's house. So we go to Erika's, and we then realize that Erika is gone. She'd been experimenting with something, and all we see is blood, and there's a word written on her. Like, we kind of break into her house, and we realize that, well, she wasn't there, and the window was broken.
Probable cause, I guess.
Yeah, we thought something was bad.
Yeah, we thought something happened.
And so there's ooze everywhere that seems to be blown out from like a circle, like a teleportation circle, it looks like, or like a plane shifting circle. And it's like there's ooze and blood, and we're like, ooh, this is bad. And we figure out that Erika tried to use an ooze as a totem to get to the plane of ooze. So that's where we figure where she is. We go to the plane of ooze. We're in this like giant bog, and we see Erika like staring over this ooze. And Neppy kind of goes up a bit closer, and Arika's like, "Oh, will you come look at this thing? This is really cool. I've always just wanted to look at this thing." And then Neppy gets pushed into a thing of ooze, and it's an ooblex. Neppy pulls her out, or Callie pulls Neppy out, and then we fight that and a bunch of black puddings. Arika is inside the ooblex, so we managed to pull her out and save her.
Was it Jubilex, the fucking ooze god?
No, it wasn't
No.
Jubilex,
Oh, okay.
but Jubilex definitely lives there.
Yeah, no,
we just saw these like giant oozes off.
You know who I think also lives there? Like vacation homes there is Damo. I'm just a little boy. I'm thinking.
Yes.
I feel like Damo vacations in the Dano vacations in the plane of ooze. He's a little demon, and he's mostly cow, except for like an anglerfish, the torso of a little boy that goes, "I'm just a little boy. Help
They fought
me."
him in Dresda. They fought him at the end of Dresda.
Who is the? I made this reference when we were in this plane. I was Art Hard's.
Glorp.
Glorp. Glorp also
I'm
lives.
Glorp.
I was
Glorp
like,
also
Glorp.
lives there.
When's Glorp coming to say that?
Oh.
Yeah.
Glorp.
Where's Glorp? Let me
Yes.
know.
Where is Glorp? So we managed to free Arika, and we get her back to Sigil.
Wait, but didn't she say, "Come look at this thing, it's really interesting," and then push you in an Uberlex?
But what an
Wasn't
ooblex
her.
does is it creates a visage of the person that it has inside it. So we managed to pull her out. So
See.
then we like go around and we realize, so we talk to Arika a bunch, and then we realize we've got she was like, "I'll get you an invitation to the Banded Sombra." So we're like, great. So she gets us in. We speak to them about what's going on, and we say we have to get to the Shadowfell. We're like a little bit cagey about why we have to go, and they're like, okay. The head monk there, Adrima, their Shadarkai monks are basically like, okay, you can come back in 4 hours, and I'll let you know if I decide to open the portal for you. And we're like, okay, we can kill 4 hours. Famous last words. So then
Ubi. You all went back to Ubi. And
we
hung
did
out with
not.
Ubi for 4 hours.
Nope. So we went to a bar.
No, unsubscribe. Like
We went to a bar called the Maw.
Oh, nice. That sounds like a good place to hang
out. It's a hell bar.
Sweet.
So it's a bar with a literal portal to hell in the middle of it. And
You went to a hell bar with an Asimar.
with an Asimar, and then so there
reckless Asimar.
there was a demon that like was wanting to talk. It was trying to mess with Callie's mind, and then it just shit got really bad. And then a Garistro started to get pulled up through the pit because Callie pissed off the bar owner, and then letters got thrown into the pit.
Nice.
Letters just got thrown into hell. Is your camera soggy, Tim?
Yeah, it's a little soggy.
Soggy
I was trying to get it to focus.
Soggy.
I'm so glad that I've switched to this camera because it never gets soggy. It's so good.
Soggy.
So we all dive into the pit
lighting.
after letters, and we end up in what we assume is one level of hell, and there's a prison. We're in like a prison essentially, and there's a bunch of cages, and we managed to get ourselves out. There's another portal out, but we don't take that one. We just get everybody together, and Neppy plane shifts them out because one of the cages were all anti-magic cages. So once we got out of the cage and everyone was together, like a couple of us almost went unconscious, and we were like, we have to get the fuck out of here. We have a meeting in 4 hours.
My arm started to burn, right?
Yeah, your arm started to burn where the Baron had got you, and Callie's hair turned white.
Oh yeah, my hair's
Right.
white now.
It just went white.
Yeah, shock white.
Yeah, it was just like you're in the hell, and it was just like whoop, white. So we managed to get out of hell. We made our meeting with the bandit Sombra.
What was Callie's hair? Was it
Black.
Why do I always think of Callie as blonde?
Kelly had black hair, and then when she was in hell, her hair just went like very like classic Asimar, like glowing white hair. Just like how her eyes kind of glow sometimes when she's doing her Asimar thing, her hair just went all white and glowy.
Yeah.
And now it's just forever white and glowy. It just unlocked.
We then went to visit the zoo. We visited
yeah.
the zoo
gosh.
again, and
I
then
pissed
Callie.
people off here too.
You
Fuck.
did? You punched
Big time. You really walked right into it.
Yeah, you punched Exo Quick. Yeah, she punched.
We love Exo Quick. Exo Quick
No, we
was the
don't.
zookeeper
Exo Quick was being
from
a
the one
douche.
shot.
He was being a bit douchey to her.
Yeah, but his
so
name's
she
Exo
Very
Quick, and he's
douchey.
based off of fucking Tiger King.
Yeah.
Let's get it. Let's just let it be known that if I had the opportunity to, I would also punch Joe Exotic in the face. So
I do like that when Exo Quick was first introduced, Tiger King was very topical. Like it was the idea of someone coming in for the first time, meeting Exo Quick like a couple months ago, being like, why are they making a fucking Tiger King joke? Like that's like almost a deep cut
now.
at this. Like, yeah, we've moved past it. We're on fucking some TikTok thing about like fucking, I don't know, moving your hands in a way. I don't know much about TikTok.
TikTok scares me. So then we go back to the Bandit Sombra, and the head monk leads us through, and we come out into a temple around the Gloomtharan, which is the tree of death. So like Thalbask is the tree of life that used to be planted in Manta, but this is the tree of death, the one that holds the upper planes in check. So we stay at the temple there for a night, just to like, and basically get kind of kitted up. They give us some like sneaky armor. Callie and Neppy go unarmored, I think, or Neppy goes unarmored.
for what part again?
When we were in the Shadowfell. Yeah.
Kelly also went unarmored for a bit.
And then we got you a different set of armor.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so Neppy has a moment where she finds a priestess that used to be part of her order that went to the Shadowfell. She has like a lovely moment with that. What else do we do? The lads all get drunk with the quartermaster there. And then we head inside. There's some praying that happens. It's really nice. Oh, Letters and Neppy talk about Letters maybe becoming a paladin, and she teaches him some prayers at the time, which is nice. We then rise the next day and we meet our guide, and he's going to take us like essentially out of the range of the shadow, like of the monastery, because they don't want anything coming back towards the tree. So he's like, I'll take you to the edge of the forest. There's this forest that we have to go through, and then a pass, and then some mountains, and then we're apparently there. So we go out and we walk out to this, and Selgin takes us out, and then Neppy summons a planar ally. So she ascends. Do you remember in the where was it? Is the Dawn War? Do you remember when we saw that giant panther that Nepthisiket had with her? Do you remember that, Adam? No. Okay.
I remember you praying, and there like a panther came up to you or something like a big cat.
In the room with Paylor, where we saw what happened on the day of the Dawn War, Nepthisiket had like a giant panther.
Yeah, that rings a bell.
Yeah, so Neppy prayed for a planar ally and got that panther. Cool. So basically what happens is every day that Bast, was his name, traveled with us, and his like epithet is the shadow of the grave. Neppy took damage, or like had her maximum hit points reduced, but he gave us advantage on stealth checks for the day. Or for every time he traveled with us, he gave us advantage on stealth checks.
Finnan wasn't around.
Oh yeah, we were.
Yeah, you would have been right in your element.
So helpful.
Just a Shadowfell, like that sounds like where Finnan wants to party. Like,
yeah, we couldn't. We were woefully underprepared for that. And so then we got into this forest.
Oh, that's why you took your armor off.
Yeah,
because you couldn't. I see.
Yes.
That's very funny.
So we get into this forest, and then we hear laughter rippling through the forest, and we fight this thing called a Grim Jester, except it replaces itself with Yana. So we end up like shooting stuff at the Jester, but it's Yana that starts taking the damage, and then Neppy figures it out. Callie goes unconscious, and when you're in the presence of a Grim Jester, it negates your healing spells and turns them into damage against the person. So Neppy essentially tried to heal Callie, but ended up killing her.
Sick.
Yeah, so Neppy was rickety wrecked about that. So we revivify.
Great monster.
Yeah.
A little sprinkling of trauma in on
there's
there.
a
We
couple
love
of
trauma.
monsters. There's a couple of monsters in like Kobold Press. I think there might be some in the like D&D books now that like flip healing, and I'm like, I'm fucking all about that. That's
Hate that
great because it
Hate that
turns
shit.
any healing potion into poison.
So then we go and we deal with that, and then we regroup inside the mansion. We then decide that we have to have a safety talk every morning to figure out what our plans are and have signals for who is who. It was the one day we actually planned. We went to the forests more, and we found these insects that were talking about trying to like lay eggs in people,
Like Ubi.
kind of like Ubi. Yeah,
Ubi's people.
Like Ubi.
yeah. And then we keep going, and then where else do we go? Oh, we find a statue. That's really cool. We found this effigy of a statue of a person named King Nacht. So King Knight. But his hands were missing, and it stole a bunch of money from us. The statue stole some money from us.
Finn just living at large with all his money still.
So we keep, and then we get up to this battlefield, and there's just like a bunch of bodies on the field. And as we're walking through this field, whole bunch of stuff grabs at our ankles. Nice. We end up fighting these really gross things in the field, and we end up going towards the city of Hecas, which is where this is like this. It's supposed to be this like empty city, and it's not empty. The walls are made of bones.
Sweet.
It's kind of bad.
We don't need to talk about this part.
Oh, we absolutely need to talk about this part.
We don't need to talk about this
part. We 100% are going to talk about this. So we go up to the gates of Hecas, and they ask our business, and we ask to travel through the Mordor Pass, which is where we have to go through to get towards the Dread Range, to cross the Dread Range, and then get to the Ashen Plains so we can get to the fucking Gloomspire and find Cordelia. And they said, oh, it needs a tribute of fresh bone. A hand will do. Or a limb.
Yeah, they're all skeletons at this place.
Yeah, there's a bunch of skeletons, and it's Lord Nozin has claimed Hecas for himself, and he's a collector, so he requires a sacrifice of bone. And we're just like, we're talking about it, like, what can we do here? And Neppy's like, you can cut my tail. Like, it's fine. I have regenerate. Like, I can grow my tail back. It's fine. Callie just walks up and fucking cuts off her hand.
It was after a while. It was after a while. We had been delivering
2-minute conversation.
We've been delivering it for a while.
Lennon, I'm on your side here.
Bold
it would
move.
have been a race between you and Finnan, because
it was because
like, you have regenerate, sure, shrink.
Kokimi like stepped forward or had said something, and they were like talking about something. And in Callie's mind, the reason why she did it, just to get us in there. We were talking about cutting off Neppy's tail and whatever, and Callie's very much like, I don't want my friends to be sad. When Neppy was like, I can cut off my tail, Neppy said, I don't want to, but I can cut off my tail. And I was like, okay, well, I don't want to cut off my hand, but I will. So no one else has to cut off.
We were all like, what the fuck are you doing? Because there was another solution. So it like, they just take Callie's hand, and we just get to walk through the city, and it's just, Callie just feels
no moleste.
No moleste. And it just walks, it is just like focuses on Callie, and we just walk through the city. Then we go through the Mordor Pass, and we like keep going for about 2 hours, and all of a sudden it just like feels like we're getting close, and we're like, but this is like a very long pass to travel through. We see a tree that looks like the picture of the Gloomspire, and then there was this giant creature. It was a Balhanath, I think.
Yeah.
It was like this like abomination creature, mind flayerish type of creature that just takes you and just teleports you away.
Sick.
And it had Neppy down to like, it was almost killed Neppy. And they didn't know him. She didn't know where it was.
Yeah, because it kept jumping around.
And it kept
was
like
the worst.
We kept like repicturing, like you could see it, and then all of a sudden, like it would take Neppy again. It was gone, and it was just kept booping Neppy around the field. It was bad. And so then that happened. So then we kept going through the Mordor Pass, and the next morning we rest for the night, and Neppy goes to Callie and is like, "Okay, I prepared regenerate today. I'll grow your hand back." So Neppy goes to grow Callie's hand back, and Neppy's hand turns to dust.
Sick.
And Callie is concerned. Neppy is also concerned and just like leaves.
Callie is absolutely distraught, and so is Lennon. Both Callie and Lennon were absolutely shattered and distraught and not okay.
Yeah. So like Neppy goes to Kokanee and is like, please don't freak out. We'll figure it out. But my hand is gone. And he's like, what? And she's like, just bind my shield to my arm. It's fine. It's all good. We'll just go forward. And so we did. Then Tim, you should talk about the tomb we found.
Oh yeah, there was a tomb. I can't remember the name of it was a dwarven tomb, but basically it was like a stone door that they passed and figured out how to open it with stone shape. And inside it was essentially this like tomb for a dwarven emperor.
Emperor Ludebeck and the Bloodstone Army.
Yeah. And all of his dwarves basically buried there alongside him. So there was like all of these coffins. Or
so
these like
many undead.
Like sarcophagus.
So many undead.
All in this kind of they were floating, in this sort of like blackish water.
Yeah. And there was many undead. Like many
thousands. And there was this big stone pathway over to this mausoleum. And they went inside. And the emperor is not undead. Yeah, the emperor is not undead. But he's clutching like a war pick, basically. That's this relic.
And he has beautiful armor on.
Yeah, gorgeous armor.
And we figure out that the war pick is a +2 war pick. It's a very cool. It's like a vestige. It's very cool. And the armor is like a +2 plate. It's pretty rad. And then Letters we had some conversations about morality, about do we disturb this tomb and what happens if we disturb this tomb and if we move some stuff, because we couldn't speak with dead because the jaw was broken. The jaw had been purposefully smashed. So someone couldn't speak with him. So we didn't. We did not take anything and we left the tomb as we found it.
Almost.
Almost.
Because you did trip the trap. It basically reversed gravitied the whole place. And so all the coffins.
No, we didn't. We didn't do that.
No?
Nope.
Was this
something got disturbed, didn't it?
Oh yeah. We moved the sarcophagus, which was of black metal and some toxic fumes released.
Oh,
but
that's
Neppy managed to clear them out with aura of purity. But we did not reverse the
gravity. I agree. Ravenswood 1, 2, 3, 4. Such a shame. Such a shame.
No.
Tim, remember I was telling you about the person who kind of speed ran the whole series? That's Ravenswood. Yeah. So like big shout out to Ravenswood, knows everything.
You're amazing.
Yes, you're a ledge. We love you.
It had a cool name too. That Warpick has a cool name.
The Anvil Breaker.
It's still out there. I don't know if it's still in the tomb anymore.
Oh my God, shut up.
I mean, when I make my dwarf character for campaign 2, it's straight where he's going.
And there was a big mural of like what this thing was for. Like it was for killing. Do you remember?
Is it in my notes here?
It was like the image was of all this whole dwarven army.
Oh yeah, it's killing Moradin.
Yeah, killing Moradin, and the like literally the king had driven the war pick into the eye of Moradin. That's what it was like. Moradin was depicted as this giant and like throwing them all off, and like the king had looking.
Because the carving had said, Emperor Ludebeck and the Bloodstone Army, none shall rest till our picks find the eyes of Moradin, so he shall never turn his gaze from us again. No stone, no wall, no mountain shall block our way in this life or in death.
Dang.
And they remember that like the depictions of Moradin that they mostly see, he's only got one eye.
Some bad shit happened. Moradin was feeling bad about something. So we go and we keep traveling. There's just so much more traveling. We get over through the pass.
You can kind of skip through like.
Yeah. We're getting there. And then we see the Gloomspire. So we get to the Gloomspire.
And what episode is this?
63. We're only 5 episodes, 4 episodes away. We're getting there. So we get to the gloom spire, and Cordelia is there. And we have a big fucking battle there too. And Cordelia manages to kill Callie in the middle of the fight, and Callie's soul starts leaving
impales her on the wings, right?
Yeah, impales her on.
Oh,
like,
this was
on her shoulder spike.
I did a very cool thing here that I very proud of.
You were really amazing in that battle. And so we Neppy's so Callie's dead, Letters is unconscious, and Neppy has to Callie's soul is leaving her body, and Neppy has to pull Callie's soul back into her body.
Yeah, because behind this place there's a sort of a fog bank essentially that it's heading towards.
And all the souls would have just gone in that way, and then managed to bring Letters up. And Yana was making a night gaunt just do auto irresistible dance for so long. There was
can I tell Adam what Callie did?
Yes.
Okay, so you know Callie's mechanic of being able to block damage.
Sure.
Callie has the thing where if she's close enough to an ally, she can say no, me.
New oath.
It's in my new oath. I took a new oath, and I could be like, no, me instead. The oath of the crown. Yeah. And I don't have to move in any way. I just take that physical damage. So I was over top of her shoulder, and I had very, very little hit points left. And she had me over her shoulder, and she went down to strike Letters to kill him. And I was like, oh, this move will kill him. And on her shoulder, I was like, I will actually take this damage instead of Letters. And I took the damage. So I died, but I would have died anyways in this fight because my HP was so low, and Letters got to not die because just from the shoulder, I was like, this is my damage. I am close enough to Letters to take this.
It was super good. It was amazing. So then we managed to kill Cordelia because Yana finally gets power word stun off on Cordelia, which is amazing. And we go and investigate the gloom spire, and it's this it's just gross and dark, and we're just let's just get the fuck out of here. We just want to go home.
Sorry, the place called the Gloom Spire is gross and dark. Fucking color me surprised. I thought it was going to be a party start to finish.
It's got some version of Neppy's Whitewater there, but it's not the same thing. It's not helpful. It's bad.
We went to a place called Stinkbog Town. Didn't smell nice.
Didn't smell nice. So then we go home finally. Nice. And we begin, Neppy and Kokanee manage to regrow Neppy's hand. They remove a curse from it, and they regrow her hand. Kamea throws us a party, which is really nice, and has a portrait painted of us. Then
wow,
yeah.
Tim. Wow, Tim. The
just
Blackwater
begging
portrait.
Tiana to do art.
Well, no, the Blackwater portrait.
Finnan's in it.
Oh, is he?
Yes,
is it like the Photoshop where your friend isn't at the party, so they've just
no. Kamea knows what Finnan looks like.
You guys didn't pose for a portrait. She had it already made.
Oh, that's so funny.
Kamea's just
either a portrait without Finnan or a portrait where Finnan has been hastily scrolled into the background.
Kamea's just oh, Finnan's not with them right now.
So he's not part of Blackwater.
I'm just not gonna put him in this portrait.
I want this as an oil painting is what I want. I want just a party shot as an oil painting.
Tiana will do that for
not
us.
as an oil painting.
She's gonna paint. She'd paint it in do it in the style of an oil painting.
But so cool. Finnan needs to be an acrylic.
And Torrance, Molly is pointing out that Torrance spear was standing in the background.
Oh, that's cool.
As well. Yeah,
that's cool.
So yeah.
So
I'm in the painting twice then.
Then we go to have this party. Adonis is at the party. And then we play drinking games with Adonis and Letters and Neppy and 3 just normal people. Go to the plane of Arborea, which is a higher plane. It's very green, and we fight some giant snakes, and those people almost die. And Letters
I'm pretty sure they do die.
One of them did die, and then Neppy brought them back because I'd cast Death Ward on all of them, so they didn't die. And Letters and Kokanee were just essentially playing chicken down this hallway, and I was like, "You assholes, we have to go."
Yeah.
And
great.
I
And
was
they were like fanboys. They were like
Yeah.
they were like 3 like huge Blackwater fans.
because apparently at this bar,
3
at
Finnans.
the Blackwater Bar and Grill, you like put a little sigil on yourself of like who your favorite member of Blackwater is, which I think is so funny. I love it.
Oh my god.
Drunk Adventures with Adonis, absolutely.
That's
So
hilarious.
then, so we're 2 episodes. We're like 2 or 3 episodes, and then we're done.
Thank you for the raid, Twitch Slays D&D.
Whoa.
Hello,
Bye.
folks.
So
Welcome,
you're coming to the tail
welcome.
end of things, but what we're doing is I have been absent from the main campaign for a little while, so we're catching me up before we get back into things. I mean, this Saturday. I won't be here this Saturday.
No,
But
you're not back.
I
This
might be
Saturday.
around soon.
Very soon. So yeah, so if you have any questions, you can throw them in the chat. So hello.
Also,
thank
there's
you.
other cast members. Not everyone is
Yes.
here. We are
Not
just. Also, Tim is the excellent DM, and
Hello.
Emma is the excellent lawkeeper.
Hello. And I also play in the campaign too, and so does Len. It is so good.
And Adam.
And Anna, wherever they are.
I
cool.
haven't been around in the campaign for a while.
It was 6 months, I think.
Half of what we've streamed,
Oh,
wow.
yeah.
more or less,
Wow.
more or
Wow.
less, because I left what 30.
A third. You left at 45, and
45,
we're now
okay,
at
so
like
yeah, a
68.
third.
So a third.
Okay.
That's not bad. So we all start. Blackwater's taking a year off. We're taking a fucking year off.
Characters.
The characters, not us as
Oh, so
streamers.
at this point the year break has started.
Yes. Yeah. Right. As of right now. So it's
Oh. This might be
basically
a
when
good
we get back
time.
from the Shadowfell, we go back. Letters heads to Dresda and sets up the Dresda Watch. And very soon after that is when the Dresda files start. Neppy and Kokani go see Andaz Silmak, who works at the town, and they decide to buy a piece of property so they can build a house. And then Kokani asks Neppy if they will want to have a kid.
I heard about this.
Yeah,
I heard
and
about that's
Neppy
going to make
says yes.
adventuring pretty hard.
Oh, we'll figure it out. We've got a plan. We've got a plan in that. And then
It's
Matt
going to
and
be Callie's going to settle down with her wife. It's going to end up just Finnan, Letters, and Clack just out in the fucking town fighting monsters.
Then we'll do a 10-year jump and we'll
Letter's
bring him
gonna
out of
die.
retirement.
Letters will
Letters
die
is-
in the next 2 or 3 years. That is true. He is an old man now.
Tim,
baby.
in 5 minutes,
Mhm.
I may have to pass this over to you.
Oh, boy.
Because the smallest little dungeon delver has decided to
Oh
wake up.
boy.
He's awake. He shouldn't be, but he is. So then Yana, Nissa, and Clack go to Barmwich. Nissa is dating someone in Barmwich,
Oh, yeah.
and they meet Yana's uncle Garmo, who has had some connection to and she's learning more about her magic, the ether magic,
Dope.
which she's dealing with now. Callie spends some quality time with Kamea, and they travel to Westwatch because Callie wants to go find her parents. So Len, what happened when Callie went down to Westwatch?
Westwatch is where the mountain.
You then made the trek to the mountain.
The Weeping Widow Mountain. Yes.
Yeah, because that's where I heard last place my dad was, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I went up the mountain. Kamea had business to do in Westwatch, I think.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So she came along. I had guards escort me to the base of the mountain. Then I went up by myself.
So fancy.
I know. Yeah.
An escort? Wow.
I didn't want it, but Kamea was like, please let me.
Imagine being the wife of a queen.
So badass.
And so went up, got myself there, and then went to rest, went to go into a cave. And there was someone in the cave. I decided to not be aggressive. I just came out and I was like, hello. And he turned around. Found out he was my dad, who had just been living up there, waiting for Callie's mom to come back.
Cave dad.
Cave dad.
Mhm.
Exactly. Cave dad.
Waiting
It was
for
a weird time.
Waiting for hot mom.
We've all been there. We've all had a cave
We've
dad
all
once,
been
or
there.
you know.
And
He didn't know about Callie.
He didn't
That
know
was
about Callie. And so
Aw.
we sat together, and he had been waiting for Callie's mom to come back because she's an angel, right?
Yeah.
And he was waiting for what's it called? What's the day they're waiting for?
Everstorm.
The Everstorm, which is very soon now, but he has been waiting years for the Everstorm.
Yeah.
So they went up together.
Was your cave dad wearing jorts?
No.
Was he a dad though? Then, because like,
I think we had a fight. Whoever was protecting.
You fought the Herald of the Everstorm, who basically told you that you were both worthy, and that the Everstorm would happen in 1 year.
Dope.
And
that was just Callie and the dad.
Her dad.
Yeah.
Dope. Her dad's a cleric of Cord.
Sick one.
Do you remember your mom's full name and title? Because it's fucking badass.
No, I do not.
Callista, the battle angel of Cord, who's also known as the Winged Fury.
Sick one.
So in a year, my dad
Callie's
and I will
mama.
go back to meet my mom.
Yeah.
Tim's gonna rip my heart in my chest, and I know it.
And Blackwater will come too.
And I'm very excited.
I heard you say Tim's gonna rip the hair out of my chest, and I was like, that's
heart.
a weird fact about Callie that I just didn't know.
No.
Real hairy chest. Got a real rug.
No, I've known this since I found out that Callie's mom is alive and she'll get to meet her. I was like, oh, okay. Tim's gonna emotionally destroy me on that day.
Oh.
So then we cut back to Wolfrine. Letters and Neppy and Kokanee figure out brain drugs. They do some brain drugs. Neppy doesn't do any brain drugs, but Kokanee and Letters do. Yana spends some time in Barmwich learning more about her magic. And Neppy, Kokanee, and Letters go to Seva Illyria for a while. Finnan's not there. He's off on a quest.
He's doing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Busy boy.
Letters calls everyone in for a field trip because they need to go get Neppy's the jelly for Neppy's armor. So
which Finnan currently has like jars of.
Yeah, so Adonis called us on
covered in scars now because of this fucking adventure he went on to get that jelly. Fucking, he lost his hand. He had to go on a whole fucking quest to get that back.
Absolutely.
He walked with a limp for a month. Like, it was a whole
so sweet
fucking
of him
thing.
to do that.
And then, sadly, when he heard that they'd done it, like, he heard afterwards and he just was like in a fit of rage, smashed all the jars just for Tim's sake, so Tim doesn't have to deal with the fact that we have double the amount of jars.
He won't ever tell the party.
Yeah, he's super embarrassed about it, so he just hides the jars somewhere and forgets.
So we go hunt for a jelly and we find one and we kill it. And we find some Illyrian airships. But Tim, I'm gonna have to pass it over to you because the small little dungeon.
See what I remember.
I will be back. I'm gonna give you. Do you want the book?
I should probably give me the book.
What episode are we at right now?
We're pretty close.
And how much time has passed from the start of the how much time has passed since Finnan left?
Since Finnan left, I hesitate to say because I don't know if you know this, but there's a calendar.
If you put _calendar in the chat, you can find it.
So there's an exact amount of days. So I know whatever I say will not be the right amount of days.
Let's go ahead and click that calendar and find out.
The calendar.
Oh my God.
But so yeah, they went to get the jelly from the matriarch, sapphire jelly, and they went into the water to do some treasure hunting. They found these ships. Some Illyrian airships. They found another part of that sword night song that you guys had found pieces of when you first got to Garyang. So now Neppy has all of the pieces of night song, and then you also fought a bunch of underwater creatures. That two-headed bad boy came back and tried to eat somebody again. I think Callie.
Yeah, it's always me.
Tried to eat Callie.
Yeah, it's literally always me.
Yeah, just so tasty. You're like a lure in your armor.
I'm a lure. So that's the big surprise of the campaign is Callie's actually a worm disguised as an Azamar.
Yeah, right.
And that's why everything tries to eat her.
Exactly. And then they fought this giant like sea serpent that lived next to the thermal vent down at the bottom of the trench, and they just got away, and then they went to I think after that they went to the plane of air, and then back to Seva Illyria, And then, let's see. Whoa.
I genuinely
And
can't read this
then,
calendar. I was like,
oh yeah, and there was like a Saracite embedded in the blade, the Night Song blade.
dope.
And then Letters hangs out with Serpenthus a little bit and breaks it to her that he doesn't want.
I remember Serpenthus. She was the one
Yeah.
that really was like super into Letters. I remember that.
And she was basically like, yo, like I can change my form, like if that's what you're into, if that's all it
Yeah.
takes. And he was like, no. And she was bummed. But she understood, but she was hurt. And then they after that. Yeah, they're done with because Serpenthus was with you guys. And then you went to the plane of air and then back to save Illyria. And then you told Serpenthus about where the airships were. And then you guys headed back to Wolfrine and you kind of all went your separate ways again. Neppy heads to the Amun K and she spends some time at Philenis and she goes and hallows the ground at the Forbidden Tomb. And Neppy and Optish have a nice moment. And then Kokanee heads to Caradoc to kind of spend some more time in the city as it's growing. And it's grown quite a bit since the last time he was there.
Mhm.
And he's kind of seen all of the progress that's being made, and the Warforged are really instrumental in putting things together. And then Callie, like
5 months since Finnan.
5 months.
5
That's
months.
a long time. And Callie helps her dad kind of reacclimatize to being around people and
I'm
like
just slowly collecting my family members and
Yeah.
bringing them back.
4
Yeah.
months.
to where
It's an
I-
11-month calendar.
And, like-
I did the math wrong, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's 4 months.
and so they go on a vacation with Command Jar, and she teaches him how to surf. It's very sweet. But then Callie heads off to the Labyrinth of Glass to try to track down one of her foster sisters. And Yana heads back to Barmwich to talk with Garmo some more and starts to learn more about her ether magic. And then Letters heads to Karos, which is the city of that he was told about where the Minotaur are from,
Yeah.
to kind of explore that. And so he heads on a long journey down there. And Callie, when she gets to the Labyrinth of Glass, winds up finding this like burned out cabin, or this burned out house where she had lived a very long time ago, and with 2 bodies in it, which she assumes were her foster parents that were not so great. And she tracks kind of like footprints from there that are relatively old, but she tracks them to another cabin where she meets this old blue tiefling named Bon and his wife. And Callie, there's like a little bit of suspicion.
Yeah.
And then because she sees that he has this chest in his room at the foot of his bed that's like covered in like infernal runes. It's a pretty intense looking chest. And so she goes to peek in while she thinks Bond is outside, and she gets caught because her stealth check was really bad. And
Oopsies.
and he's basically like, I'm not gonna try to hurt you. I don't do that anymore. I mostly just I mostly just catch animals. And basically he tells her that like he used to be he made a pact a long time ago. He's a warlock. He made a pact a long time ago with the devil. And his whole thing was that he had to he hunted demons for the most part, but had to put them in the chest as tribute. And for his patron, I think it was called the Jailer. And he traveled around. He used to live in Bakal, but then left because he had a falling out with his son. And then he and his wife moved to the Labyrinth of Glass, and now he basically just catches animals and puts them in the box. And he basically stored up enough goodwill because he made the pact originally to save his wife. His wife was very sick, and it was the only way he could cure her illness. And so he like essentially banked up all this goodwill with his patron to kind of live out his days in relative ease. And but yeah, there's a kind of a tense moment of like, ooh, are they gonna fight? And then of course they didn't. Yeah, do you want to talk any more about that, Len?
Well, then he talked to her about his son.
Mm-hmm.
And she told him about the fall of Bacall, because he didn't know about it. And then he asked her, I think he asked, or she might have just decided internally that she was going to find his son.
Yeah.
And pass on the message that he's
'Cause he-
sorry, and that he doesn't hate
Yeah.
Nepthysicat, or like
Yeah,
on.
he doesn't hate Nepthysicat. He just disagrees with her.
Yeah.
And he reckons they probably went to Cinderfall, or I think they had gone to Cinderfall at that point. Or he reckons that they probably did, and he thinks that's where Hala went as well, because she had come through there, and they had put her up for a few days. But he talked about how like she was clearly conflicted and had some anger.
Who is Hala?
Hala was Callie's foster sister.
Right.
And she was younger, and she was gifted with magic, and then specifically fire magic, I believe. And then after that, she's heading back, and then we jumped over to Letters arrives in Karos, and he finally lands in a city where he doesn't stand out. There's all kinds of bestial races in this place, and he meets these paladins of Kruha, which is the kind of big deity there. And he meets them in a bar, and they wind up talking, and he agrees to join them on their going to the front lines because they're celebrating one of their fellow soldiers had died, because they're in a war at the moment with the Yoranite dynasty. And so they were sort of celebrating his life, and he agrees to go with them to the front lines. And then before they head out, Yana basically goes back to Wolfrine to talk to Adonis, because he knows more about the ether magic, and she starts learning from him, and he's basically like, I need you to go and get something for me. And Kale is there, and he basically Kale has been doing this for Adonis on the side, where they go and track down items that are out of tune with their universe. And he's like, Yana, like
loot.
Yeah. And so Adonis does a group sending, which costs so much because it's cross plane. It's so much. It's so expensive. He does a group call, and he teleports everybody together to the waypoint in the Astral Sea, which is kind of a city in the Astral Sea. And before they go, I think they had given him the loot he was going to study it some more. And then they went to the waypoint, and where they went to the skiff yard because they needed to travel. It was an island just outside of the waypoint. So they went to the skiff yard and got some astral skiffs from a guy named Duke Corbano. And then they headed out towards this island. And on their way, they got attacked by an astral dreadnought.
Nice.
That ate Kokanee, I think, at one point. I think it ate Kokanee.
Yeah, Callie was flying out doing lifeguard.
Yeah, because they kept falling. Some of them were falling into the sea, and when they fell into the actual sea part, that was kind of like water but lighter, it started to pull their soul out of their body.
That makes sense.
So Callie was just flying around, pulling people back in, doing. Yeah. I don't think Callie got hurt that fight. I think I just used my wings and flew around and pulled people back.
Yeah, you were. Yeah,
I was like, oh, I'm just lifeguard. That's
yeah. And and Kokanee took a lot of damage, and he got eaten, put in the donjon, and then managed to get out. And but one of their ships got destroyed, so they were all on one ship heading towards this island. And when they were in sight of it, they could see that the island had
that Falcon was in.
No, because you guys killed that one too. I think they killed that one.
Did we tell Adam about Oh my god.
Was Falcon in there?
You found
No,
I
'cause-
remember someone talking about finding
Yeah,
Falcon.
it was in
To explain for people who are like, what the fuck is going on? In a one shot, Sean played was he an Aarakocra?
I think
He
so,
was.
yeah. He
Yeah.
was. Yeah.
Who basically was like Falcon from
Smash Bros.
Smash Bros.
Yeah, he
And
brought
he-
his
I mean, I think
he
he's
brought
from
it-
something else.
he
but
He brought a
had sound.
soundboard.
A soundboard.
Fucking
And
insane.
all he could say was what was on the soundboard. And at some point, he responded, yes, to do you pull a card from the deck of many things? And he did pull a card, and he got the Donjon card, and he just got trapped somewhere for
Yeah,
eternity.
you guys did find him.
We did. We freed him in when they went with when Kokanee and Neppy and they went with the people from the bar.
Oh,
When
he
you
was in
fought
Arborea.
they
Right.
freed him from there and he just flew off.
Falcon.
And we just knew it was because he like said Falcon as he like
Falcon.
flew away. Yeah, and he was
Punch.
just gone, and that's how we knew.
That's what it was. Yeah, it was in Arborea. He was like in the center of the temple.
Yeah.
But you arrive at this island, and they could see that the trees had been kind of warped, and almost alien-like. And then they saw a ship leaving on the other side of the island, because there was a very high perception check that
From
kind of
Neppy?
looked like a Nautilus, and
Fun.
that's where we ended it.
Well, I came back at perfect timing then.
Fun. Well, so I almost called you Neppy. We figured out that Finn has been gone for 4 months.
Did you look at the calendar?
I did look at the calendar.
Did.
It took me
Good
a
for you.
second. I was reading it backwards for a little while, and I was like, Finn's been gone for over a year, and then I was like, nope, reading this backwards.
No, it hasn't been gone
Um,
for that long.
yeah.
The everything that we did was condensed into a very short amount of time.
Yeah, like 2
and then-
weeks, and then the time jump. But
Yes.
where you are currently right now is about 4 months since Finn left.
Yeah, because there is the session that says this session
Yeah.
happens.
So
on
Finn's
this
gotten
date.
up to some stuff, I think. 4 months.
I'm
Mhm.
Bit
excited.
of
I'm
time.
excited for when we eventually meet up with Finn and to hear about
Yeah.
all of his exploits.
Should be
And
pretty soon.
very soon.
Probably.
Yeah.
Except,
No.
Because
not-
because the sword, Felurian has it.
Smoking weed and eating pizza bagels.
Did you talk about the sword? Did you talk about Night
The
Song?
Night Song, yes.
Yeah.
The Saracite in it.
Yes.
Mhm.
Neppy's new Saracite armor. It's gonna
Very
be so
cool.
nice.
Everyone's getting
Yeah.
serious. Everyone coming for Finn's brand, all right.
All right. Kokanee's got a Saracite gun now. It's
Finn is just gonna stop even trying. He's just gonna be like, whatever. I do mud stuff, and he's gonna wear mud on him, like fucking
That's,
whatever.
go live in the Earth plane.
No, I'm just gonna go to the plane of ooze where I'm appreciated.
Absolutely. For all 20 of you who are here, if anyone has any questions
Yeah.
before we sign off for the evening about anything upcoming, anything for Tim, who the lovely DM here, ask him any questions.
Absolutely, Finn's talking to Cornelius, being like, "The fuck, man."
My thing.
Saracite, I had it.
Saracite. Yeah,
I have
I'm
literal
excited.
Saracite eyeballs.
We don't have Callie, what do you have left on your to-do list for the year? Or do you want to keep that for a surprise? Len?
Callie?
Yeah.
Meet her mom.
Yeah.
Meet her mom. It's like Callie's to-do list was not that long because it was hang out with my wife, hang out with Jar, find out what happened to my parents, and then it's now just turned into hang out with my wife, hang out with Jar.
You gotta go find
collect-
Hayla though, right?
Yeah, she's finding Hayla. It's extended now too. She wants to go find the son of the man she just met and pass on the message. Bond, yeah.
I think
Find Bond's son if he's alive, and then she also wants to find Hayla and collect one of her last family members and bring Hayla back to Wolverine.
Fair enough.
And then meet her mom. Meet her mom's a big one. That's a big one for Len because I'm excited for that.
I think. What is something you think the party could have used Finn to change the outcome of the last 4 months?
The entire time we were in the Shadowfell.
Yeah, it sounds like you could have
Would've
used
really
someone who could
helped.
make stealthing.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have changed so much about the Shadowfell. Holy bananas.
What were you gonna say before, Adam?
Oh, I just think like for these 4 months, Finnan is probably the first month he was seeking out someone who represents Bahamut, and then for the
We may
next
play
3
some of
months-
that out.
Yeah. Oh
We
no,
may play
absolutely.
some of that
Like
out.
at the table, but I
Yeah.
think just the general gist would be like those 3 months would just be spent being him like, what do I need to do to earn Bahamut's trust to make this thing? Because I think for what Finan wants from the sword, I don't think Finan wants the sword. I think Finan wants like a physical representation of the new god. Because there's like all these items that represent all the different gods.
Yeah.
And so he wants to make the like triumvirate fucking item.
Yeah.
And then I think a big part of the year will also be like maybe figuring out how to seal some of these items away, or like, because I think the sword might end up somewhere where he's like, he might make his own dungeon where it's like the like fucking King Arthur pulling the sword out of the stone kind of deal.
Yeah.
When characters switch out like Finan and Letters, are they pre-planned or is it someone? So me, Letters? Did Letters? I don't think Letters is ever switched out.
No, I don't think Sean's taken a break.
He might have been away for a session or something, maybe.
January is always a tough time of year for me with like the work that I do. And this year was particularly, it's kind of mind numbing. And I just like didn't have the emotional bandwidth to be two people essentially. Cause like getting down to it, D&D is like, you kind of have to have the space to be another person. And like we've talked about in the past, bleed is really real. And I was feeling it like a bit too much. And I was like, I need to take a step back. And I talked to Tim, and Tim was like, there's a really good spot. Like if you need to take a break, there's a spot where it works really well. And so I think it was right around when we met, we were in the Dwarven City and we met.
Yeah.
And there was a bit of that, like that big, like Blackwater infight about what we were going to do with the Durgar.
Yeah.
And I think Finan was like,
early November.
I was like, this is a good time because Finan's annoyed. And I also was like really suffering from bleed in that moment. So I was like, I'm also annoyed. For no reason. And that was actually the like first sign where I was like, I need to take a step back. I need to take a step back from this because this is like the line between Finan and Adam is too close, and I need to like take a moment to separate those. And then Tim was like, trust me, play for a little bit. There'll be a perfect break if you still want to take the break. And I was like, awesome. And then we got there, and like honestly, by the point we got there, I was like, I think I'm good. But I was like, I should take a break though. Because I'm going to be like, I think I'm good. And in a month from now, if I'm not good and I haven't like taken that time to kind of like pass through it, it's just going to be all the worse. So yeah, it was pre-planned, but in a kind of like, it was almost spur of the moment. And then it became pre-planned like through that. But yeah, it was definitely useful because I just need like, I was definitely like a little too intertwined with Finan. Finan was a little too real for me, and I just needed to be like not Finan for a second.
D&D should always be like bucket filling.
Yeah,
I think.
yeah.
And if it's not bucket filling for you, then you should reevaluate kind of where you're at and what you can do to help make it bucket filling again.
Yeah, because we were coming up to like midterms.
Yeah.
Like all the kids were stressed out because I work in an educational setting, or worked in an educational setting, so that isn't going to be an issue moving forward because I no longer work in that setting. But yeah, I was like, thinking back to November, it was the first couple months of like actually pandemic teaching,
schooling,
and I was just like, fuck this, fuck everything, fuck everyone. Like I was just an angry person. Like I just wasn't in a good mood in general.
We're really happy to have you back though. We're excited to have you back. It's gonna,
and I think
there's
like,
gonna be
like, oh sorry, please continue.
No, you go ahead.
I just think Aranaz was a really good palate cleanser because Aranaz was like a real distant thing from Finan that I could just be with. Kind of, I knew there was a limit to Aranaz. Like I didn't need to work. Like the longevity of a campaign makes bleed worse. Like
absolutely, it does.
The longer it goes, the more you're intertwined. The more it fucks with your head when things are like bad. So yeah, being like Arna, just being a dude who wants to hit people and is just like kind of dealing with some like anger issues was very cathartic. And now I can kind of get back to the sweet boy Finan. Because I think Finan was getting grumpy because I was like, it was bleeding one way, but it was also bleeding the other way. Whereas Finan was like,
bleed in and bleed out.
Finan's like a very happy-go-lucky, like sweet boy, and for a while there he wasn't. Like for a while there was a lot of like Adam vitriol coming through Finan, but Finan was just like, kill everyone. Fuck the world.
Well, I'm glad that you're in a better mind space to come back to it. And I am like, I know for me, like I'm so glad that Tim and I got to take the time that we did to like have time with the tiniest little dungeon delver, which is so nice. But man, am I really excited to get back to the table. Yeah. There was like a switch maybe like 3 weeks ago when he actually started sleeping, where Tim and I were like, we're human now. We're human. Can we start playing D&D again? Can we start playing D&D again? So it's been nice to be able to like get through the Thanksgiving holiday up here in Canada and then kind of roll back into the game. Tim, we got some questions from you in the chat. Tim, do you feel that the campaign will still continue for a while, or will it wrap up soon?
I think it'll go for a little while, but I don't know. Like I don't have like an end date in mind, because it'll depend on, there's certainly coming into the sort of
end zone area.
End zone. I think we're going to take it to 20.
We're taking it to 20, babies.
I think we all want to.
If you think about the trajectory of the enemies we have fought as Blackwater,
yeah,
it does feel like we're getting into that territory of like, you all fought a god. So like it's what's the term in movies where it's
climax?
No, basically where like in a TV show on the first season the bad guy is like a dude, and then the second season the bad guy is like a dude but he has flame hands, and like the third season it has to be like a dude but he also has robot legs and flame hands and like laser eyes. Yeah. It's that like the
stakes are higher.
Stakes like constantly have to get higher and higher, and once you hit God, like I feel bad for Tim having to be like, okay, they hit
Tim's
God.
Two gods.
They hit God. Yeah, two gods. Fighting three
that's
gods
the kind of thing that I like about this campaign too, is like the gods are so close that it's like they are gods, but it also feels like they are kind of fallible. Like it's like all of the kind of steps along the way of like these gods have all been proven to be like, they're not perfect beings, like, and that keeps becoming more and more apparent, and like it's definitely building to like we're coming to a point on things culminating. So I have ideas of how it's all going to come together. Here's
my theory, and Tim needs to take his headphones out because this is my theory and Tim can't hear it. But my theory is
dish me.
My theory is this, that the Mother of Vengeance was the highest stat-based enemy we will ever face. And the next boss, and they are the final boss, they're not statistically strong. They're Clack. They're emotionally devastating. It's just going to be Clack, regular Clack, with like his fucking Rod of Wonder being like, I was bad all along, and everyone being like, oh no, and just being done. Just like
my dad would win. My dad would win the bet between my dad and Tim's mom.
That has something to do with Clack.
Tim knows now. He knows too much. Scatter. That would be
back.
Did you also talk about how Thara's Dune is gone? Did you talk about that?
Oh yeah, no, I didn't mention that. So yeah, that was something they discovered, that Thara's Dune is basically
just no more.
Was cut up into 1 million pieces. And
that's worrying.
And essentially, yeah, like when the Raven Queen went into that rift, it was like that's
when she went in after
we did. Like when we were closing the rift in Bacall.
Oh, so that's not, we've dealt with that. That's fine. I thought there was another person who'd fucked up Thara's Dune, and we were like,
no, she cut him in. But now there's an abyss. There's a vacuum in the abyss.
It'll be fine, I'm sure.
People are power struggles.
Season 2, I'm sure.
Tim, there was one other question for you. Is there
Jeannie
something
had a question?
Yeah, is there something that you're excited to explore that came out of the party's hiatus?
Yeah, I mean, I love everything that happened in Dresda. I can't wait to see, when we do come back to Dresda as Blackwater, that richness and depth that's been cultivated. And
I like to think that Finan, because Finan's the kind of guy, like, he invested, like, financially invested in Dresda, and also like his like little warlock boy is there. I like to think that Finnan was like, shit's going down in Dresda. Like, what's this about Nubicol? Turns up a week after everything's been sorted out. I mean, like, who need like Finnan's here. He's gonna fuck shit up, and everything's just like settled, and be like,
No,
oh fuck, you guys are like self-sustaining, and you got it. Like, oh, well done.
Yeah. And it's fun to see that like growth of the city and that depth and then there's another moment that you'll see at the table that I'm excited about. Yeah. So yeah, like that kind of that richness. It's also been fun for me to like kind of think back on the, because I really did, like when we had a child, I just stopped thinking about it. I was like, I don't have capacity to sort of think about it. But now as we've been getting closer, it's like starting to think back through of like, oh yeah, okay, like what are these storylines, like what are these threads, and refamiliarizing myself with all of the world that we've been building up to this point, and like, ooh, yeah, okay, and this, and then looking through my notes and be like, oh, I had some good ideas.
The lore for Dresda has been kept. I will toot my own horn that the lore has been kept.
Kay asks Tim if you prefer DMing or playing.
Man, probably DMing, because I mean, playing is fun. They're so different. It's a hard question because I find them so different. Like, especially DMing for stream and stuff like that. There is a point where it becomes like it is kind of work. Like it's not. I enjoy it, but it's not like it's not. There's a the player experience is so much more like I just get to show up and play this game.
Yeah.
Whereas the DM experience, especially on when we're streaming, is much more like, oh no, this is like I have to put a lot of thought into this. It's like there's a lot of hours of prep that go into it, and making sure that things, you know, like I'm thinking about structure and just within the session. Whereas like if we were at home, it wouldn't matter how long something went or how short a session went. I wouldn't have to think about those beats. Yeah. And so it's definitely like, I do really enjoy DMing, but I don't know if I can compare the two experiences now. They're so different.
I think like, because I love DMing, and I think I think I finally settled on like what the perfect world thing for me would be like 6 months of DMing a campaign, 2 months of playing as a character, break, and then back to the campaign for like kind of like a 6 on 2 off, 4 back. Because like I think my problem as a player is like the thing that I identify as my like difficulty being a player is my ADHD. I'm constantly like, what's the new thing on, like, what's that new thing? And DMing really scratches that itch of being like, I get to decide what the next thing is, what the new thing on the horizon is all the time. But you also like, you're occasionally like, I just want to play. I just want to like do stuff.
Yeah.
I want to interact with this world.
Yeah.
Something that we've been doing we've done 2 of them now that's been actually pretty fun, is Kobold Press has been doing some they've got a new book coming out that we're doing. I backed the Kickstarter, so we're doing some play testing, which is off camera because I signed a big NDA, which has been super fun. So hopefully when that book comes out, we'll be able to roll some stuff in.
There is a 9th level spell in there that Finnan is very thematic to Finnan.
Oh, the big, I know exactly. I can't say, sorry, the big one,
You can't say.
It is.
There's some
something
silly
to do with darkness. Like, who
we did,
guessed?
our last one was all about spells, and
it was really fun.
Very fun, very silly.
Tim, we got a question for you and I from Marta, or sorry, actually me and Adam.
And Tim is also in there.
And
I think Len should also be in this question.
I think Len should also get this question too. For the 3 of us who are players, what did you miss most about your characters? Len, you can go first. What did you miss about Sweet Callie?
I actually can't go first. I have to think about that.
Nothing. I missed
literal nothing about her. I missed Neppy's reassurance and like her steadfastness. I think that was something that was very big for me. Like even just the space to like play in a person who is not always like, Neppy's very sure. She has something very, very strong to fall back on, this like her faith, her religion. And for me, over the last 4 months, I have, having a kid, another one, you think you know everything about parenting, and then you have another kid and you're like, I know nothing. And I having to learn who I am as a mom of 2, and having to learn who my new little baby is, and all the things, the ins and outs of his life. Adam can confirm he's very cute.
Very
so
cute.
Can Len.
So cute.
So he's so cute. He's so sweet, and he's so different than the other little dungeon delver.
He
who
couldn't
is
quite decide whether he was a fan of my face or deeply terrified.
Yeah.
Because his face went from laughter to like concern back to laughter.
Yeah.
And I was like, I get it, dude. I got a lot going on.
The first time I held him, he fell asleep in my arms, like holding onto my shirt.
Yes.
It was funny.
We've reached the stage with the new little one where he can grab onto my hair and pull it, and I was like, ow, 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 ow.
It was funny because Em was like, do you want to hold him? And Sean and I both were like, we love your child. We love you so much. But no thank you.
Yes.
I feel like it would be like someone handing you the most valuable object they own, and it's made entirely of very brittle glass, and be like, you want to hold this while on a seesaw? Like,
That's so
like,
funny.
no thank you. I'm too scared.
I walk into their house and I'm like, give me the baby.
Yeah, Len, I'm just like, please
where
take
is
my
the baby?
She doesn't
Give
even say
me
hi.
the
They don't
baby.
even say hi. They're just like,
no,
give me the baby.
First I go to the not youngest, and I'm like,
Cody.
hi, I love you. And then I go to the tiniest and I'm like, give me the baby.
Don't listen
Yeah.
to Cody. Cody is wrong. Cody is not a doctor. Please don't listen to his advice.
Not dog.
Good fork. I just want to say, yeah, that's exactly it. Missing Neppy's ability to make everything seem like it's going to be all right. Yeah. And thank you, Kay. That's very sweet. That warms the deep, dark voids of my heart. So thank you. Yeah, I'm very excited to be back to my girl. I've missed her very much, and very, very excited to play D&D again with my sweet friends who I talk to all the time. But D&D is a very special part of our relationship. So I'm really, really stoked to get back to it. Len or Adam, you can take it. And then after this, we'll wrap it up.
My answer is going to be really boring.
No,
So, I lack object permanence. So, while not actively playing Finnan or actively talking about Finnan, I don't remember that he exists. Like, that is truly how much, like, it is startling for people who don't know me to hear this, but I forget to call, like, I won't call my parents. I just won't. If you put me in a room with something to occupy my time, I will never call my parents. Like, it is not something, it's not something where I'm
New
like,
World?
I'm not,
Adam, like New World?
like New World, yeah. I just stopped existing as a human being for 2 weeks because I was like, I'm going to get to 60. And I did. And I'm the best. I'm the best healer in that server. But that was like the point. I do not remember things. Like, things just, I genuinely think it was the many, many concussions I had growing up and the binge drinking in like mixture. Because I have no capacity. So, like, while not like actively being Finnan or talking about Finnan, never in my mind at all. So, like, I am excited to play Finnan again because, like, talking about all of this, I was like, ooh, like a little bit of FOMO for sure, because I was like, oh, that sounds like a cool adventure that I missed out on.
Ubi.
Ooh, like Ubi. I missed out on Ubi and the plate of ooze. Fuck. But like, there's nothing like, yeah, it just doesn't exist in my brain. I honestly will have to sit down and play Finnan to kind of remember. There might be a weird, like...
We're all going to dust the cobwebs off.
Yeah, there might be a weird, like,
It'll be fine.
15, 20 minutes where I'm just like...
And we'll all faff about for...
Oh, absolutely.
We're in the middle of sailing.
Oh, is this Finnan? Is this what he sounds like? Am I Finnan now?
Not.
Ooh, Finnan. Finnan.
Surprise. It's not.
He went on a gap year. That's what he said.
How's it going? My name's Finnan. I like
I've been
darkness.
practicing Neppy's accent when I'm alone. And I was talking very funnily. Oh, man. So the not so little dungeon delver really doesn't like picking up her toys. So I have invented a game that we do at the end of every day. It's called the Mary Poppins game.
It's my favorite game.
And it's where I use a British accent and I pretend to be Mary Poppins so that my daughter picks up her
Works
toys because
every time.
Because every time she will not listen to me to pick up her toys, but she absolutely will listen to Mary Poppins. But now I've just started substituting Neppy's voice in there, and she knows the difference. She'll look at me and she goes, "Mommy, use Mary Poppins voice. Don't use the other voice. Mommy, use your Mary Poppins voice." I was like,
I think my favorite time was when I came to see y'all, and we went on like a walk, and I didn't actually get to talk to Em that day because it was only Mary Poppins that I got to talk to.
yeah.
We had just watched it, and
Yeah,
it was
you
like,
just
she
watched
could
it, and I saw
only
and like Em would be back a couple steps with me, and I'd be like, "Oh, there's Em."
Len, you beat me to it.
Dungeon Devil would come up, and I'd be like, "Oh, okay, it's just Mary Poppins now."
I think Finnan is just like so. It's just my bad Irish accent. I just do like kind of an Irish accent, and then Finnan's here.
That's an idea. There's like that's the only way that I know that
That's
you're
like-
infinite is. I have an idea.
I have an
Yeah.
idea.
There you go.
That's
So
but
good.
that so the problem is it's so hard for me not to put R's on the end of things. Someone made fun of me today because I said Canada with an R on the end.
Canadar. Yeah.
Canada. I can't not say it
Len-
like Canada.
Len, what do you miss about Callie?
What Adam just said with the object permanence hit very close to me. I remember it like it's like I went through like I think because I took a little bit of a break just from D&D in general, so I've just gone through like a little point where like I haven't been playing D&D, and I would go through waves, especially like when playing Katya, where I'd be like, oh, I miss Callie. Like I just miss her as a whole. I don't think there's any like one thing I missed about her. It was just like missing her, missing like playing her. I don't know how to get back into Callie, so like that's gonna be like a weird thing, like getting back into playing that character, because like it feels so long. It feels like so long since I've been that character. And it feels like after going from just constant, because like as soon as I joined and started playing as Callie, I never missed I never missed a session. I've never missed a Callie session. I've always been Callie. Love Katya like a lot.
Mhm.
But there's something I think so cozy about Callie.
Yeah. That's a really good way to describe Callie. Cozy.
Yeah, so I think going back into that will be nice.
I feel like Lennon, you probably felt the same way during Dresden Files, where it was like, I as Aaron I'd be like, if I was fucking Finnan right now, like, fuck, Finnan's so good at social stuff, like, I'd be able to breeze through this conversation, like.
I don't think I really like I don't think that really went through, because I don't think Callie, in my mind, Callie just wasn't there. I was also, the state of mind that Katya was in is I think a state of mind that Callie's like never really been in. I have to send him stuff about Katya, but she's a really beautiful character, like her whole backstory. I'm really sorry. I'm really in love with. Good fork. Stop. Would you give an arm or a hand to play Callie again? I would. I'm just very excited to get back into playing her. I think there's a big comfort in playing her. And I think one thing I guess maybe not missed about Callie, but I think I noticed I've missed about just in general in that time. I guess I've moved.
Yeah.
I've moved. I don't have the same job that I had. Like a lot of my life has changed. I've gotten more into like, I guess, my own stuff, so I haven't really, what I used to do was like, I would transit to work and I would have headphones on and I would listen to the Callie playlist and I would like think up scenarios for the week that might happen. I haven't done that in a very, very long time. That's, I think, just a part of my life that's missing, just because like I haven't been thinking about her as much.
Yeah.
So I think that might come back, which would be nice.
Mm.
But yeah, a lot of my life has changed, and yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Callie, I guess, fits in on that.
I think all of us will be a little bit different coming back to the table, and I think it's going to be beautiful. I think we're all going to be, I think, because like when we all get back together very soon, I think there's going to be something quite magical about all of us around the screen. And I don't know if any of y'all noticed, but we got that that really new pretty stuff on the channel. There will be pretty new overlays, pretty new things. There's going to be a new intro
where it's really buffery and bad, it looks great on the overlay. Just the video quality is a little.
I deleted that other video. That video is gone.
Oh, never mind.
It's gone.
If you missed it, you missed it, and you're a loser.
there'll be brand new overlays with Cody actually running it because Cody knows what's going on.
Cody knows what's up.
Cody knows what's up.
But speaking of, we should probably head
We've been doing
for the evening. Thank you all. So yes, bring your spider milk. Please wear your jorts.
Bring your dads.
Bring your dad or any parental figure, really.
But they must be wearing jorts.
But they must be wearing jorts on Sunday or Saturday. Sorry. So we will be here 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I didn't even do announcements tonight. Who am I? Well, there will be announcements. I will be rehelming announcements on Saturday. I can pry them from Matt's
wrestling.
I'll wrestle the announcements back from Matt. We love you guys very,
There's been
very
a
much.
lot of wild stuff happening during announcements, and that energy hasn't dissipated.
I've watched.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying. That energy's still up in the air.
It's great. It'll be great. So we will be here. Yeah, Tim does have extra jorts. Can confirm. We will be here Saturday, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Love you all very much. And this is chatWater, so we blow kisses here. Good night, everyone.
Bye.
See you soon. Bye.
Keeping us live, so let me stop that. Bye.